Good word. Let's see, 31st. I'm ready when you're ready. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to this edition of the Nantucket Historic District Commission. It's March 31st at 4:04 p.m. Let's see, this meeting is being audio video recorded. Anything you say or share will be shown on the town's YouTube. Please act accordingly. No Zoom bombers, please. The HDC takes comments from the public. They are due at 8 a.m. the Monday prior to the respective meeting. HDC public comment, all one word, at nantucket-ma.gov. Let's see. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda? Oh, it'll be those at the table: Angus, Abby, Val, myself, and Connie. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? There are no consent items, or no consent with condition items.
Val is your.
Holly's online. Does anyone have questions for Holly on staff comments? Connie? Go ahead.
Holly, did I miss the comments for Cliff Road?
For which one? I can't hear you.
115 Cliff Road?
Yes, those are the ones I didn't get a chance to do. Unfortunately, our IT department had a required update by 5 o'clock on Friday, and I was just able to send that email to you all to tell you all that they were done, and I wasn't able to get to those.
No worries.
But I thought the
missed
other
it.
ones were more important, to be honest.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Holly. Any questions on material? Angus?
Nope.
Okay. All right, Holly, thank you.
Thank you,
And-
Mr. Chair. I just wanted to also take the moment just to remind everybody about our CLG meeting coming up on April 10th, 4 p.m. We'll be sending that agenda and link out to everybody. And it should be on your calendar already. And then anybody who needs to do their open meeting law training from town administration, you all saw that email. So thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay, great. Okay, before we get started, our Cs today are clear, concise, and consistent, please. Everyone, including me. Good focus point, team effort. We are going to move right into 198 Hummock Pond. Good evening, Matt. This was a view. Ray is not here. Connie, you will be activated as the alternate.
I think you have to make me a panelist.
Pardon me?
Just ask to be made a panelist.
I
I know.
Not something you're known for, Matt.
I know. I'm trying. I'm looking. I have the USB.
No, being sneaky.
Oh, yeah. So it's just going to take a second.
Okay, so the format here is presentation. We'll ask questions, we'll take comments, and then we'll get into deliberation.
Great. So I'm just going to stay focused on the architecture of our project. I know the abutter is here. I would love an opportunity to respond, but I'm going to focus on just this structure. But if the context comes up, I'd like the opportunity to at least respond to it.
Okay.
So you've seen this structure once before. Again, it's a football field away from Hummock Pond Road. And so the vegetation is important to us and privacy is important. But I'll just cut right to the changes that we've made. We've omitted the cupola, which I think was universally, everybody said that they would prefer to see it go. We dropped the entire second floor to 1.5 stories. So we took 1 foot 8 inches out of it. So the height of this structure now is lower than the two abutting properties at 200 and 196. It's actually shorter in length than 200 for sure. We're open to the idea of putting exposed rafter tails around the entire structure and also changing the color to gray to match the color that is at 196. So in the interest of brevity, I'll leave it at that, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Thanks, Matt. And can you show us the site plan?
There it is there.
And Matt, driveway is serpentine, straight shot. What's going on there?
We believe that it's the existing driveway access, so it does have a slight bend and curve to it, but if the board felt the serpentine driveway access would benefit the property, we're happy to do that. The goal is to maintain as much vegetation so that you feel that you have the sense of arrival, that you're driving through some existing vegetation to get to the front, to the structure itself. And it was intentional to develop the entire program towards the back of the property.
Okay.
And just for context, the two 196 and 200 have structures. 196 is literally, you can't get any closer to the road than that. And then 200 has a guest house that's, I have photographs of it, but I don't want to get into that. I want to focus on the architecture, but the two abutting properties have structures closer to the road. Thank
Gotcha.
you.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions for Matt?
There was
Thank
a
you.
yeah, thank you. There was a reference to the color of 196. It, through the chair, from the photographs, that looks like white. Is that what?
The application, the approval says gray. So that's why I referenced to match that color, whatever color that is, we'd like
Yep.
to match it.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Any other questions?
Nope.
Jason, if you could just identify yourself for the record, and I guess your street address would be
Yes,
beneficial.
my name is Jason Olbreeze. I live at 200 Helmick Pond Road, in the butter to 198. I want to thank Matt for that presentation last time and this time with some more information, which I find helpful. So thank you. I think one of the things I wanted to note was that the driveway wasn't noted in your last presentation, so it looked like it changed. So I'm not sure where that stands. One thing I just wanted to note is that there seems to be a repeated claim that the house is not visible, but it clearly is visible. Even if when the photos were taken in the dead of winter, I live here in the winter, so it's visible. I'm not sure seasons matter. But regardless, I think because it's visible, I think that the structure being 100 feet wide and 50 feet deep, and now it's going to be closer than any existing structure on the lot, it will have a more presence on the lot. It's in the presentation also doesn't really address the clearing of vegetation required for the house building, the parking court, and all the lawn areas. So I'm not sure how that would affect the visibility. I'm glad to hear that the owner would like to keep the vegetation and keep privacy. That sounds great. But there's some larger issues in the revision I'd like to see addressed, such as the continuous ridge lines, lack of roof hierarchy, additive massing to help break up the mass of the structure. Because it's connected to the garage, it just reads as one large structure. And I think some way of breaking that up would be helpful. But the architecture speaks for itself. That sounds great, but what it doesn't do is speak to its surroundings. And it feels a little more imposed on the site. This portion of Hummock Pond Road, if you're not familiar and haven't done the viewing, it's a very rural character there. There's the fish market, there's brewery, there's the farm, the sustainable farm, smaller homes along the way, and the current site even has a horse barn and paddock on it. So the proposed structure, by comparison, would be the largest residential form in the immediate area, and notably a lot more formal in character. The use of white trim, but now maybe gray, which is great, would enhance the contrast in the setting. So being gray might help. And because this is not the denser, more formal character of this beach per se. Also, dropping the ridge hasn't the eave lines were dropped, but they kind of hit the middle of the window rather than the sash line, which I feel would be better. And then the garage having a portico seems too formal for the area, and doesn't really seem to serve a purpose with no entries leading from the portico to the home or the garage. The west elevation has a dormer that's 27 feet long, and it would be better suited if that was broken up, and they're flush, so it seems very vertical. And because that's going to be looking down the driveway, if the driveway stays, it could be visible. So something I'd like to see addressed is that verticality and maybe setback dormers. And then on the north elevation, just reads contemporary with the 2/2 windows. Not something you really see in this area. With its repetition and symmetry, although it looks nice, it feels too formal for our area. I asked the commission to review the application with the broader context of the rural and pastoral character of this part of Hummock Pond Road. And I request that the ridge, if visibility is still going to be a concern, that ridge poles are erected to claim that lack of visibility. Thank you.
Thank you, Jason. Okay, state the board one more time. Myself, Ray's not present, Abby Camp, Dale Oliver, Angus Cloud, and Connie Patton. Who would like to begin? Concerns, comments?
Could we go up to the site plan again?
Yeah.
If I hadn't been thinking about the garage yet. Oh,
Sorry, it's delayed. There's just a delay.
Site plan?
It's on my screen, but it just takes a
Oh,
second
it's
for
fine.
the,
Gotcha.
goes up to space and then comes back, does something.
so, so I just have a question before I
Yep.
comment. That I just want, the garage is connected by what's it called, a
Portico,
portico? Okay.
connector thingy?
Yeah, is that true?
Currently, but we are the authority having jurisdiction, so.
Okay. Okay, I just wanted to clarify that because I.
Okay. Do you want to comment?
Yes, I would love to comment. I appreciate the reducing of the height. I'd like to see a little more movement in the front and the back and the recess pieces. It's a little boxy from the road. I think it's reading a little, for such a rural area, I think it's reading a little too boxy. I think that I wouldn't, I mean, the garage being attached, I wouldn't, I think that's not a great idea. But I'd also like, I don't want to see that on the same plane because then it gives you the impression of it's even longer a building than it is, because from the road, it's going to appear like they, it's just, I don't know, 10 feet away. So, I think the gray color is a plus. I think if we were to do a driveway with a serpentine and have some landscaping, right where we can sort of disguise the house a little bit, it would be, with some rural vegetation, it would make it sit better. And, yeah. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Val?
I'm not ready.
Okay. Connie?
So I really don't have a lot more to add. I do appreciate the reduction in height, the color change. I think my concerning point, and I think Abby mentioned it too, is that portico, attaching the house to the garage. It does add to the overall appearance of, just making it look larger. But architecturally, I don't really have a lot more to add to what already's been stated. Thank you.
Thank you. Val?
I can go.
Angus? Sorry,
Um,
Angus. I thought Val previewed this.
I did, but I'm trying to.
You're always so good
Angus?
with your preview. So yeah, the concerns are pretty much what they've been since the first time we looked at it, which is the overall mass, and I appreciate the lowering, but I was looking for more hierarchy, and now it feels if it could get any boxier, because there isn't the variation in heights between the roofs. And the garage has been an issue since the beginning with the being connected and competing with the height of the house. It would have a very different impression if it were set back behind the house, following the guidelines, or reduced in size. And then others have mentioned the porte cochere, the connection. It's just, it makes what already seems bigger. And I think by disconnecting the garage and moving it back and getting rid of the connection, it's going to help alleviate the impact of the overall size. But I'd want to see more variation in the massing. Thank you.
Thanks. Well,
Okay,
it's your.
am I missing something? Cause it looks a whole lot very similar to 200 Hummock Pond, which is the house right next to it, in massing and everything. It's that far back. He's lowered the building, which is a plus. Changed the color, plus. Now, what is the height? What is the height now?
It's 26.9.
Okay. Except for separating the garage, I don't have a problem with this. I think it's eerily like the house next door. And that looks nice.
Thanks. Anyone else? Did I miss anyone? Okay. So Matt, I appreciate the changes. I think they help address my concern. The cupola overall height is a question mark. No longer a question mark. The only thing that really I have a concern about is the portico. I think that what I would suggest is, depending on how this goes, is that would come off in a motion, and you can always revisit it. I think it would be beneficial for you to, oh, excuse me?
Sorry, we can hear you.
Go ahead, take it out. Yeah, that's all right. First time's a gimme. Second time it's not all right. So I think that the landscape plan, in particular, the driveway plan, I'm not suggesting that a serpentine is necessary, but if it were to come in down one side of the property towards the garage and then come over a little bit towards the garage, swoop in, or vice versa, it's a little bit more lined up with the garage, and then it comes down and there's a little bend in and it comes back. Something along those lines. I do not believe that that's necessary, by the way. I was asking as a benefit for our information with respect to potential concerns.
Mhm.
And I think with the portico in place, it would be beneficial to understand what was going to happen there, because if it's not going to be visible, then it's not for me, it's not a concern. But portico, maybe come back and revisit when you have an
I
opportunity.
was going to suggest that.
I know this structure, Vail checked the boxes for me, color 26.9. I mean, guys, we're approving secondary dwellings that are 26.9. I'm not suggesting that's a good thing. Given the distance from the street, given there are 2 of these in Canterbury, given there are 3 of these on Pulpus Road, all relatively new construction, one of them is actually still being built. And of course, Broadway and Sconset, it's right there in the square, the smaller version.
Mhm.
Maybe some diamond window panes would be beneficial.
Definitely
So I'm
entertain
okay
that.
with this as it is, minus the portico. Addressing the garage is a separate matter when that application comes up.
Next.
Okay.
Those are my comments.
I'll make a motion to hold for revisions. And do we want to hold the garage to track?
Um,
I'm okay with that. I mean, the height of it, yeah, we're okay with that.
I would, for a second for discussion, I would suggest minor revisions.
On the
if you're
main house?
comfortable with it, yeah.
Okay, so, and leave off the garage?
And yeah,
Okay.
you know,
Yeah,
ask the
yeah.
portico, no prejudice, and
Yeah.
minor revisions. Bring it back. Do you want to bring a driveway plan?
We'll do that. We'll probably come in with a landscape plan.
Okay,
Some sort.
sounds good. Is that cool with you, Abby?
Yes.
Okay, so on Abby's motion, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Carries unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, that brings us to 28 Pine Street. It's myself, Abby, Angus, Connie, and Joe. Joe, you there?
I am, yes. Hello.
Excellent, welcome. 28 Pine, also Matt.
Yes. So with your permission, Mr. Chair, I'll
Yep,
jump
please.
right in. So you've seen this a few times. At the last meeting, we came up with a solution for the shed dormer that's on Farmer Street, or the north elevation. The previous iterations, it was a gable, it was an oversized shed. We were able to push it back so it is coplanar with the existing shed dormer to the right on the north elevation, which I think was a good suggestion. We figured something out in the plan. You can see that on the Pine Street facade, or the west elevation. those two dormers are at the same, they're coplanar, basically. The faces line up exactly. The pitches are slightly different, but again, I don't think you're going to necessarily notice that in perspective. So one of the suggestions was this, we have this addition of a bay. And in the previous iteration, we had this kind of freestanding bay. We tried it as a hip, then we went to a shed. And through those discussions, one of the suggestions was to potentially wrap a hip roof around the facade to basically capture that bay. We also reduced the depth of it. In the earlier iteration, the bay actually projected out somewhere in the range of like 7 or well, close to 8 feet, if you will. In this iteration, we've kind of pushed it in, and the concept is that this had a wraparound porch, and then a certain portion of it was enclosed. So we have a few perspectives. We did do a few options where it was a bay revision, but I think it was fairly derivative of the previous iteration. I thought this solution was really fairly successful. You can see these perspectives on the right side of the page, just to show you what it looks like. The existing shed dormer on the historic structure is somewhat atypical, because the eave line meets the windows, existing second floor historic windows at a lower point. Typically, we'd want it to terminate at the meeting rail. This is a pre-existing condition. They also have that secondary trim piece that aligns with that eave, which is, again, atypical but historic. It's been in a lot of those photos. So the question is, how do you handle this kind of awkward facade, if you will? And I think the suggestion by the board to wrap it around with a porch was a great one. I think it unifies a lot of the undulations of the roof geometries. So with that, look forward to comments from the board, Mr. Chair.
Thanks, Matt. Let's see, does anyone have any questions? You guys received Holly's comments, Historic Structures Advisory Group. Did Mickey have one on this? I believe he did. I know
think
he's
he
made
did.
prior comments. I didn't print it, that's all.
I did. So,
Okay, so let's see. Who would like to comment? Joe?
Sure. I appreciate this option and approach, and I think that the result is that the main mass, even though the ground floor now has a porch wrapped across it, it actually gives it a little bit more hierarchy, where I think before a lot of it was being lost because previous additions were substantial in nature. And I think this helps to visually ground it and brings it back towards being the most hierarchical mass. So I think it's an appropriate addition to the structure. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's see. Abby?
So, yeah, I agree with Joe that it does ground it in a way that I didn't know that would happen, but it does give it a hierarchy, because now the sun porch is reading as it evolved over time, and you still see the main historic mass, as many of the houses on Nantucket have, like a sun porch in the front added to the old building. So I think it works for me. I'm not sure what if you have the room, but I thought it looked a little shallow. I thought it could
depth.
come out maybe another foot and really give it a little more substance, and not looks a little, it looks a little pinched to me, a little too shallow, not enough. So that's my only comment.
Through you, Mr. Chair, can I just respond to that very quickly? I don't disagree with you. There is a bump out on the side of the building, and we use that as the determining dimension. So we're kind of utilizing existing shed roof as the profile that gets carried around. So we certainly could, but you might get what we
Okay.
call a bastard hip. It's not an appropriate term, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we wouldn't want that.
We don't want no bastard heads. Angus, what do you think about bastards?
Yeah, they don't work for me. Unfortunately, I feel like this has gone really the opposite direction. I was seeing this bay window in order to articulate the original structure, which there's very little left that's articulated. has had additions done around it, but still the street side stood on its own or stands on its own now. And besides the bay window, which would be large enough typically for a seat, is turning more into a room. But I'm not buying the sun porch idea because the way a porch would go is that it would start in plane with the original facade and then come out a room distance. I think Abby was alluding to this about the depth of it. It would come out 8, 10, 12 feet for an actual sun porch. And so what it is you're not really believing that there's a full room there unless it's removing, which it is, the original facade structure. So to me, it's a loss of this historic facade and articulation of the structure. I appreciate what's been done with the dormer on Farmer Street. But yeah, the front of this, it doesn't seem appropriate to me. Thanks.
Thanks. Let's see, Connie.
So I do think this is appropriate. I do feel this grounds the original, the building. And, yeah, I don't really have much else to add, but I do think it's appropriate the way it is. Thank you.
Thanks. Matt, can we go to the site plan? I'm gonna have you jump around. Can we go to the site plan, please? Okay, and then to the first floor plan. Okay, and then do you have a perspective of the bay as a bay option? Did you make any changes to that and do a perspective?
We did. There's a
That's another
second
way.
set here. So should be. There you go.
Okay, and then I'm sorry, will you go back to the floor plan?
Of this option.
Yeah. Okay, so my feeling is that I'm of two minds, actually. One is that the concept of the covered porch is, I think, beneficial in that, probably echoing some comments here. It provides a better sense of grounding of the overall structure. However, at the same time, it could be extended out a little bit, maybe another foot, foot and a half, if that were to work. I understand you get that bastardized hip, but I think that would blend off on a perspective. I think for it to be successful, it needs to look less like a room and more like a porch, which is to say larger windows, more connectedness in terms of the concept of they were infill between porch posts, maybe a skirt that travels around the sill height. The problem for me in that is that it starts to overwhelm. Well, the concern I have primarily with this approach is that the covered porch swallows the facade of the historic structure. I think that what would happen as a result of making the covered porch look more like a covered porch is that it too would detract from the existing structure, the front facade of the existing structure. As we know, this is a very challenging structure because it has bastardized additions, if you will. They're everywhere in different directions. There's fenestration that's mismatched and massing that's mismatched, and so that's acknowledged. For me, and I'm the other side of that coin is of the wraparound versus the bay. Is I think the bay could be successful if the opposite side. Do we have the opposite front perspective of this? Oh, here it is above.
Yeah.
If the structure that's the bump out, that's the office, was actually characterized as the covered porch, which is to say fenestration infill between posts, a skirt board around it, It de-emphasizes the concept of the covered porch on the front of the historic facade. Go with the triple window bay on the front and retain as much of that front facade as we can, and at the same time build up the frontispiece, as Holly had also suggested. I think Mickey suggested that the bay was more in keeping with preserving the front of the house, which, as a public comment, I take consideration of, but doesn't drive my determination. I happen to agree with it in this instance. So for me, it's the bay. It's modifying the left side here. So this reads as the covered porch that went off the side of the building, which is not uncommon. Usually it's a screen-in porch, then it gets converted over. I think that would be successful, and it would preserve again the front facade, or much more of the front facade.
Could I ask a quick
Yep.
question of Angus about the concept of the bay on the front? Because 8 feet would be great. If we could make it look like a front porch, we'd probably have to have a shallower pitch. Are you suggesting that it would be like kind of a shed that goes across, and then so that it was like an 8 foot deep front porch that was partially enclosed? Is that a concept? Because I can come up with an option C or D.
Yeah, to answer the question, yes, this would be a room depth here, the porch. So it would be 8, 10, 12 feet as it typically would be for a porch. And yeah, a shed, yeah, shallower. If the roof was coming underneath the sill of the windows like that, yeah, I mean, it changes. I just thought we were gonna get two options, one of like this exploration and then one of the bay window, like if 14 Hussey Street or something that is just a bay window. But does that answer your question?
I think it does. Yeah, that's what the option B was intended to be. But so, Mr. Chair, I can take another final swipe at this based on some of this feedback, and then you'll have options. But I appreciate the feedback. It's a unique structure, no question.
I'd appreciate it if you I don't necessarily need to see it if it doesn't scope out well, but try that suggestion with the side porch.
Yeah.
And then the bay. Because the thing that I think is going to happen when you do that is you're going to visually create a better balance between what's happening with that bay. So it's not a distraction from the front door. It's going to be two different masses, two different vocabularies, but they're going to rotate around the axis of a built-up frontispiece that preserves the historic structure. Maybe not,
We
but
can look at it.
if it's successful, that'd be wonderful.
We've gone this
So
far.
I think we're going to look for a motion to hold for revisions to show some options again. If you guys are all comfortable with that.
So moved.
Okay. Let's see, on your motion,
Aye.
Joe,
Aye.
Connie, Abby,
Aye.
and and I.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Matt. And with that, we are moving on to 1 Pog Govett. Ben's here. Good evening, Ben. And Abby, you're chairing. And I am not on this. Oh, for some reason I'm recused. Oh, is this a house move?
No, it's a new dwelling.
Oh, I wonder why I was recused. Maybe I wasn't actually recused, but.
Maybe
There
it's
was a,
Here.
there was a house.
Oh, so why would we?
Good
Go ahead,
evening,
go ahead.
everybody.
Yeah.
So, are you ready for me, Abby? Oh, no. Okay,
yes.
Wait a second.
yes.
Well,
Oh,
while you-
nobody's ready.
While you
No.
get the plans up, Shelley Dolan is here, our homeowner, so she'd like to say a couple words before we get into the presentation.
Okay.
Thank you, Ben. Sure. Thank you, Ben. I'm Shelley Dolan, and I just thank you for the opportunity to share a little bit about our story. I first fell in love with Nantucket in the early 80s. I worked at the boat basin for Joe Lobes and for Scott Herman at the Nantucket Lobster Trap many, many years ago. Skipping ahead to after I got married, my husband and I were so blessed to buy our home in 1998. I remember going down and peeking in the windows and feeling like this was really the house for our family.
And thinking of the shell cottage fills my family with joy, remembering times at the beach, strong wings, tag on a dirt road after dinner, and so many special memories. It's also a really special place for my 89-year-old father-in-law, who is a retired Cincinnati firefighter. He loves drinking a Budweiser, watching the sunset at Galley Beach. It was the perfect house for our family of 4, but it has a structural issue and it isn't big enough for our growing family and hopefully someday future grandchildren. Ben has done an amazing job keeping the structural integrity of our home, and we hope to recreate the same feel of our cottage once it's done. I wanted to close by thanking the committee for all you do, the many hours that I know we don't see, and for the consideration that you've given our home. My entire family is really grateful. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Shelley. So, with that, I'll get into the architecture of where we are today. So last meeting, we were looking at a couple issues, and one of them was the front elevation. So, Fiona, if you could put it to the west elevation, that'd be super helpful. So our previous proposal had a kind of a fanciful door with a stoop on it. And I went down there after the meeting and walked Jefferson, and I noticed house after house with a wraparound porch, which I should have seen from the get-go. But you know, we've upgraded the front of the house to create a wraparound porch feature. It was kind of a feature that we didn't expect to gain from this process, but we're very happy to have gained it. Now there's a little more connectivity to Jefferson. So I think that was a great improvement. There is a little bit of fenestration changes also on the front of that elevation, a new window on the second floor right, some kind of more symmetry around that front elevation. So I think that was a great improvement and a surprise feature that we didn't really expect. And then on the rear of the building, you know, we were still looking at the fenestration on the second floor balcony, and it's probably a simple solution there, but just breaking up the flanking windows from the double door. Fiona, if you could just go to the next elevation there, the east elevation. So now that there's about 8 inches or 6 inches of shingle between the trim of the door and the flanking windows. So with that, we hope that we've kind of come to a place where everybody's satisfied and we can move forward. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Ben. Let's see who our board is here. We've got myself, Angus. Oh, Carrie, are you here?
No, she is
not
here.
Carrie, Connie, and, oh, recuse Welsh. So we do only have a 4-person board. Angus, you're on this, right?
I'll go.
So, yeah,
I'm
good,
on it, yeah.
good.
I think Ben's done a really great job making this new structure really resemble the existing structure and show that it has evolved over time because their family got bigger. I honestly have no concern. I know there's some concern because it's getting lifted, but that is out of our purview. So thank you, Ben. It looks great.
I'm happy to go.
Thanks, Val. Go ahead, Agnes.
I think you really turned a corner, literally and figuratively, with this facade on the west elevation. Thank you for picking up that porch. I think that makes all the difference. It recalls more of a porch that is existing. And it softens the verticality just by going horizontal there more. So thank you for that. The overall massing, I think, is fine and works works well there. Really, the only concern left is one that I've had since the beginning, and that is just the amount of second floor deck space. It's maybe triple what it is. and the same with the fenestration. So there was one door before and now there are four. So if there's a way to break up the balconies, maybe get rid of the connector of the balcony and or lose a door. I appreciate getting a little strip of shingle between the doors and the window, but what it's reading is just a continuous window, doors, window, 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 doors, and just across the whole thing. So it's still overwhelming that face with glazing. So that's still a concern. So I would say a single door in the main gable with the flanking windows centered either side, and or some sort of break between the balcony so it doesn't read as this long row of balcony and windows. Thank you.
Thank you, Angus. Connie?
Um, I, I really think it's a very handsome building and I don't have any concerns. Thank you.
Thank you, Connie. My only concerns are that east elevation with the second set of French doors on the far right. I'd rather see just two windows there and, going, maybe going from, a pair of French doors to one door would be beneficial. I really, want to say, I think you nailed it this time. So, those are my minor thoughts. I think we could make a deal here. Anybody want to try?
I'll make a motion to, approve the submitted.
Do you want to,
You can discuss it, or you can make a motion.
well, I would. Sure, the two sets of French doors are really, a stickler for me.
Are you looking for me to make a suggestion? I mean, if I'm looking at the east elevation, to the far right, we have a pair of slider door coming out of the living room. If we convert that to a single hinge door and then add a window out in that field of shingle to the even further right,
Mhm.
would that help?
I think that would take a lot of the curse off it.
Okay.
I mean,
We're happy to do that.
yeah, so could we add that to you?
Yeah, let me remake my motion.
Thank you, Val.
Motion to approve with the following revision per Exhibit A. On the east elevation, turning the slider into a single hinged French door, adding a window to the right of that. That is my motion.
Okay, love it. Thanks, Val. Connie on the motion.
Aye.
Angus?
Um, yeah, now, it's almost there, but like either connection between the balconies would go, or the other French door would turn to a single door for me to do it. So
Okay, that's okay.
I'm gonna,
I'm in favor of the motion, so that passes.
All of us, aye.
Oh, Connie, yes.
I said.
Everybody said aye?
Yeah,
Okay, great, thank you.
yes too? No.
Angus is a no. Okay. Thank you, guys.
Very much.
Thank you.
Okay, we are on to 4 Westmore Lane. Hello, John. Board is myself, Ray's not present, Angus, Connie, Joe, no alternates, and Abby, you're recused.
Oh.
Were you recused?
No.
Yeah. We should-
Francis, was John gonna attend?
Pardon me?
I'm talking to Francis.
Oh, so let's talk about recused offline, because that carries a connotation that
I don't even know this.
Excuse me?
This.
we should talk about using recused offline.
Oh, I meant, no, but she wasn't, she was in the audience or she.
Yeah, no, we should talk about that because it carries like a responsibility. No big deal, but I'm just noting it for us
Gotcha.
to pick up. Okay, you're good with a 4-person board, which basically means there's not 5? Your option would be to, wait until the next hearing of old business when Ray Cole is here, who is the 5th. Or if things don't go the way you'd like, and we ask for revisions, you could request through staff that Ray would mull it in. And what he would do is he would just watch the meeting, sign a form, and would sit.
Yeah, I think that
Want
works.
to do that?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So
Um,
John, if you'd state your name for the record and then kindly walk staff through a brief presentation.
Is the architect with us?
I don't see him. That's why I was asking. I don't see John.
Oh, you're Francis.
Um,
Are you Francis?
Yeah.
Hi, Francis. I'm
is there
sorry.
somebody else besides John that would be representing?
Um,
I have a Maya with her hand.
may I make a suggestion? You take another candidate now and I'll.
Yeah, why don't we hold you for a half an hour and you can get on the horn and see what you can come up with.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks. Yeah.
And Mr. Chair, there's someone with their hand raised.
Is it somebody,
Maya Darrington.
Maya Darrington, just be ready with the Zoom bomb to cut off.
Outer Bridge is isn't that your friend that's an architect?
Yeah.
Okay, let,
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, you
let's,
didn't say
okay,
that.
one at a time, please.
Maya
Hi, I'd like to talk about.
Go ahead.
Road.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks, Maya. Come again. Outer Bridge, can we hear you? Can you? Thanks.
Mr. Chairman, I'll wait a half hour.
Okay, you guys can get reoriented. Sounds good. We're gonna move to 9 New Jersey Ave. About an hour or so. Good evening, Jason. So your board is myself, Dale, Angus, Joe Paul, and Connie Pat.
Okay, no Ray.
No Ray. Okay. And when you're ready, if you kindly direct staff through your presentation, there's a little bell you're aware of. That's the 2-minute mark.
Okay. Briefly, the submission includes the materials requested from the last meeting. Include a copy of the HERS Raiders report, including the passing score. The good news is that there will be no exterior changes to the architecture to achieve that score or to the site plan. I include a as-built drawing, as you can see here on this page, with an overlay of the existing structure over the proposed structure to illustrate the extent to which the approved plans affect the existing structure. On the following page, I include a 3D view of the approved design, identifying all new constructions highlighted in yellow, as well as all existing historic material that will be salvaged and reused, highlighted in blue. And lastly, I include a thorough comment reflecting on the commissioner's comments from last meeting, and in short, addressing them. I'd like to do that now in a quick summary. The original design of the application was not well received, so the revisions submitted were subsequently redesigned, maintaining only a portion of the existing structure, as you can see there in the blue. The approved design reflects the fully revised annotated drawing set, not the original application form, and clearly documents the scope of modifications, alterations, including the demo plan reviewed and accepted by the commission. The plans I submitted for this meeting show an overlay of the as-built over the approved design. Demolition as required to implement the approved design was clearly depicted in the drawings and inherently contemplated and approved as part of the overall renovation, alteration, modifications, and the addition. As far as preservation, at no point during the review process did the commission indicate the project would require to follow a strict preservation approach, or that the historic fabric would remain materially unaltered. Instead, the review process we arrived at through the review process pays homage to the original structure and retained roof pitches, general massing, relationships, and architectural character. And lastly, regardless of whether the structure could have been relocated intact or dismantled and reconstructed, the final built structure will always have contained the same amount of historic fabric and new modern structural elements required for the approved design. There will inherently be no difference between what is conceptually designed and approved and what will ultimately occur during the construction to achieve the approved design. Given the extent of the approved modifications and the site constraints, it was infeasible to do so. And at that point, and I regret this, that I did not come here before the commission to explain the situation clearly. However, the architectural result contemplated by the commission's approval remains the same. The house will be built, will be the same house that was approved as a renovation addition. Thank you for your time.
Thanks, Jason. Does anyone have any questions for Jason? Okay, so again, it's myself, Val, Angus, Joe, and Connie. I have a question. Jason, you stated that the fabric of the materials that will be reused are the same amount that would have been the case if there was just a restoration renovation. I want to be really clear on this. I'd like you to be really clear on this. You're talking about a smidge of the overall structure. You're talking about what is shown in the drawings as being retained versus anything else, correct?
Sorry.
Well, I mean, having looked at the pictures and been on the site, there's, you know, there's probably 300 square feet or less of, there's not even 200 square feet of material to reconstruct with.
There is more than that. It doesn't look like much, but there is certainly more than that. As you, all the blue areas on this drawing here that I've highlighted, those were retained and salvaged. In there.
I'm sorry, can you say that again?
The blue area of the highlight, it's not coming through perfectly, but if you look at the view number 3, you can see it's the left portion of the house right there. That part and the little wart coming off was that those materials were retained.
Okay, so I want to follow up on that question is because I'm having difficulty processing that because what was inspected were approximately 4 to 5 foot lengths of stud wall that were cut to 4 to 5 foot lengths and the cladding. So I don't see where a full wall or rafters were retained on the site.
Absolutely, they were. They were retained. The full walls of that, where that double window is now, and on the approved plans, that wall was saved. The gable end of that structure was saved, and the far, the other side of that structure was saved. In between the two wasn't necessarily. It was saved. There's only 3 or 4 studs, if you could see from the photos, but that is not required to be saved by any means, especially because the new floor plan requires them to be removed.
Right.
So
what
and
you're-
the roof rafters were saved as well.
So what you're saying is that the portions that are shown in the drawings that were included in the packet
Yes.
that you received approval on, those portions that were indicated to be retained have been retained.
Yes.
Okay, but dismantled.
Yes.
Okay.
Some sections were left intact, like a full wall, but some were not able to do so.
Okay, so I wanted to get clarification on that. Before we take comments. Okay, great. So, no other questions?
Yes, I have.
Angus.
So the double window that you were referring to that was a whole wall salvage, is that here?
That's the one.
Okay. And
Now-
that is this wall?
That's correct. Oh, no, sorry. Nope, that's the front of the house. That's nope, what you're pointing to.
Okay. Oh, here. This,
That's right.
this is that.
Yes, right.
Okay. Thank you. So that relation of the eave to the windows already exists.
No. The eave to window, can we scroll up to the previous page? Okay. See it's the second drawing down on the far left. Here.
There. And so the red is what is proposed or what's existing?
The red was the as-built.
The as-built. Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions before we?
I have a question.
Yep, Val.
Is this the way it was, I didn't sit on this, was this presented this way with the red superimposed over what was gonna be and what is? Cause that,
Well, not,
I think would have made it super clear.
if I may.
Go ahead.
Mr. Commissioner,
Quick.
I had an as-built plan next to every proposed plan. The as-built plan would also include a demo plan. If you were to look at they were in line with each other, so you could easily see the changes happening, the eaves raising, the roofs raising, the window changes, the door changes. I did this so it could be more easily seen. And now that we're at this moment.
Okay, and the other thing, Jason, is accurate is that this review was over a period of time. You originally came in with a broader scope. The HDC, through discussions, spoke to retaining the structure and minor modifications to the fenestration versus wholesale. Would you agree with that?
No.
No, okay, so the record will reflect, the applicant's agent said no, but my understanding of the actual events and the minutes is a yes. For the record. Any other questions for Jason? Okay. Val, do you want to go?
No.
Okay,
I don't know what to say, cause
okay.
I didn't see what was presented and now I see this, and if this was it, I think there'd have been a lot more discussion. So it's hard to suss out exactly
Yeah,
what was presented.
and last question, Jason,
Mhm.
the paper narrative application did or did not list demolition?
The paper narrative application doesn't reflect what was approved because in the subsequent revisions to the plans through this process, things aren't on the application what they are. If I had did white for trim and you guys asked for gray, the application not changed to gray. It's on the plans. So we came in for a renovation and addition, was basically leaving the current structure the way it was and putting on an appendage. That went out the window and we came up with this more integrated, fully, this process that's a lot different than that. So demolition, it was inherent in the design approach, but it wasn't asked for specifically to demolish the house, if that's what you're asking.
And are you suggesting that through the evolution of the process, the HDC asked you to demolish this historic structure?
No, I'm just explaining that through the process that we came to a design that it eventually got to a point where we had no other choice but to dismantle and we're going to reconstruct the house.
And then you are aware that on the agenda, each time there was a meeting, it was listed as a renovation and restoration?
No, I was not aware of that.
Okay, so whenever we looked at the agenda, that's what we saw. Okay, Angus.
So to me, one of the character defining elements of the original structure was the relationship of the head casings windows to the eaves. And so I mean, I think that would go a long way to bring back part of the character of the original structure. That's one thing that we normally ask for the windows to tuck in and sort of have a header slash plate. So that's what I would be looking for to make this work better.
Anything else?
Nope.
Let's see, Connie.
I'm having a hard time with this. I also did not sit on the original, and I really don't know what to say. Kind of think it's all unfortunate, to be honest. Is there, I don't know if this is appropriate, but is there a way to see what was originally there or proposed? Because I Yeah, I'm not sure where to go with this one.
Okay. Thank you, Connie. Let's see, Joe.
Sure. Yeah, this has to be one of the, I think this is going to be a precedent setting application, in that I think it's going to guide the information that we request for historic renovations and additions. And I think what the drawings that are in front of us now are probably what we should be asking for moving forward. The interesting thing about this is that the applicant has an approval of fenestration and ridge lines and all of that. And as Jason described it, the net effect is that very little of the existing structure was to remain. And you can just see that by looking at the fenestration overlays. And moving forward, if we had asked for, if this was a requirement, I think we'd be making tweaks to fenestration locations and heights, vertical heights, and these subtle shifts that have happened in the approval. We would try to, I think we would be more rigidly adherent to the existing fabric, so that we don't end up with a essentially approving a demolition. And to me, this is different than an as-built where somebody builds something completely different than what was approved. The different windows that weren't approved, the ridge that wasn't approved, et cetera, a height that wasn't approved. The applicant's proposing to not make any changes to what was approved. And we're debating, I mean, we're really talking about the notification to everybody out there that if in the construction process, or I should say the dismantling process, it becomes evident that that the building was essentially approved to be demolished, it needs to be brought to the board's attention. And sometimes that's difficult to anticipate when you've crossed that threshold. But we have drawings that we look at that are side by side, existing and proposed, and you've got to look page to page and back and forth. And I remember at the last review, the applicant did have their original approval on here, which I didn't sit on, but the floor plan, which I don't think we focus on very much generally in our reviews, clearly showed that hardly any walls were remaining. I mean, we're concerned with the exterior, so I can see why we wouldn't focus too much on the interior, but these overlay elevations clearly show that a lot changed. And this is my next comment, is really just conjecture, but it sounds like the way the project unfolded, if the addition was larger, that was an appendage to the existing structure that the applicant described, and then ended up being something more of this scale, I could see where, like, okay, this is in keeping with the existing house. I think if we had these drawings in front of us, then there would have been a lot of adjustments to ridge heights and header heights and so forth to keep a lot of the existing material. So I don't know, that's a long explanation, but I think it really does put a spotlight on these subtle shifts in a drawing that can actually mean major changes in the field. A subtle shift in a ridge line maybe originally goes up a foot, but it means the whole roof is coming off. Those things are very difficult to glean when you've got a lot of complex massing and side-by-side drawings. So I have, it's very disappointing that, you know, the structure was demolished. And on the other hand, I can see where it ended up where it ended up. So I'm definitely torn on this. I have a hard time asking the applicant to now make changes to a design that was approved by the board in terms of ridge heights and window locations and everything else. It seems like, I mean, I know nothing has been built except the foundation, so I guess there's an opportunity to tweak those things. It starts to, I'm not sure what kind of exposure that gives us as a board if we're asking to make revisions to something we've approved. I'll stop there, but that's my kind of summarizes my thinking on this. Thank you.
Thanks, Joe. Appreciate it. So there's a couple different things going on here to the way I'm viewing this. One is, you know, obviously the requirement is of the applicant's agent to show and list the work that's going to occur. That is both in plans. When we say plans, I mean drawings, primarily elevations are what the HDC refers to. And there are subtle changes that happen over the course of an application's review. So there will be an open question, which I'll get to in a moment. This was not listed as a demo in the app. The drawings to me are confusing. The addition of these drawings further confuses the process, to my mind. You know, if it walks like a duck and it quacks like a duck, it's a duck. And this was a demolition. And I think we need to be very cognizant of that so that we're not getting into a position where this is a recurring element in the discussion and approval process. To that end, we've asked town council for some specific definitions so that given the that are legally tenable, given the dollar numbers and other repercussions that are involved in an unapproved demolition, including a 2-year no build policy under the town's bylaw. And so I think we need to explore that, which we are. I think we need to explore, and that also addresses where these historic structures are being renovated and pushing the envelope into, to my mind, a black line over the line into demolition. And we, as an HDC, as an institution, have to be able to defend that. And we need to be able to do it in a, again, legally tenable way in order to do it responsibly. And to have clear expectations. So that is in process. The other thing I want to go back to is the floor plans. I think in order to make a better determination of what was approved through staff, we need the sequential submissions, not the final approval, not what was submitted for a stamp at the end, what through staff, what the original drawings were, the original submission, what any subsequent submissions were, with a date indicating on each of the, clearly on each drawing, the date of the hearing, so that the member sitting can review along with the minutes. This is a very important case, either in understanding where there are modifications that need to be made, in addition to, again, the fact that it's incumbent upon an applicant and their agent to present the work in full on both the plans and the narrative application. But the original submission, any sequentials, and the final approval, I think both floor plans and elevations, so that we can individually review those, understand the process that occurred by reviewing those alongside the minutes. I think that'll be terribly important for us to pursue that. And I can't think of another way to proceed at this point, given the confusion that's involved, the fact that they have members who are sitting on this application who didn't sit on the original applications. They don't have the background. Does anyone have a concern with that approach?
No, at least we can go through that. I probably will watch the videos as well, just to understand and then be able to make an opinion or decision.
So I think we would request, sorry, Kathy, through staff, the original drawings submission, the sequential submissions, the final approval submission, the minutes. And the minutes indicate the time and the stamp in the in the video.
No, Terry used to do that. They don't do that anymore.
So I
When,
think,
when was this approved? What year? I don't think I was.
Jason would know better than we would recall.
2023 or 2024.
It's been a while.
Probably. It was 23, end of 23, maybe.
Terry,
maybe
I don't think
24.
we're still here.
I don't.
So, but I think we need to know the meeting and this times, so we can sit down as a board and individually review,
January.
as opposed to having 5
2023.
people and Ray as the, was Ray on this?
Yes.
Yeah, so if Ray reads in, we'd have 6 people who are gonna, otherwise would have to fish through and find I think there was 3 or was it 4 meetings?
3 or 4.
3 or 4.
With
So-
with subsequent amendments.
Yeah, so I think it's a lift for staff, but it's an important case and we need to have the information in order to make an informed decision. So regrettably, that's what we would be asking for. And then the rescheduling of the hearing would be dependent upon when staff can pull that together. So you would have to coordinate, Jason, with Kathy through the office and be cognizant of the fact that this is, I want to be clear. This isn't a responsibility for staff to pull together tomorrow. This is as a result of not having had updated information provided to the commission. So there is a responsibility there on the applicant's agent's shoulders. So I would ask that you be cognizant of that with respect to timing. Kathy?
Can I just make one comment?
Yeah, please.
All the HTC files are now digitized. However, they're difficult to find. So if it was anything that was, I don't know when they came to grab all the files, but this would definitely be digitized. Yeah, they're in no particular order when they're scanned, so it might be cumbersome for us to find.
Right. Well,
I could bring you my copies that are stamped.
Well, this is what I'm going to suggest, and then we can talk more offline if we need to. All digital submissions are via HDC submissions at nantucketma.gov. Jason, you should have a copy of each submission. So you'll have the date, and then Kathy can verify it on the office end, or someone who you delegate to through Plus can verify that information and then provide the submitted versions that are on file in the email account, because that's all archived for various municipal records purposes. So in that way, we'll be able to simplify the approach. It will be incumbent upon you, Jason, to pull up the meeting minutes, check the dates, give Kathy a very clean summary of the date and the date of your email submission. And then the Plus office will be able to process this more expeditiously. But that's not to suggest that it's all going to be done in a week or 2, because there are other items in the queue already. Okay.
It'll
Works.
take some time,
A
but
good
yeah.
place to start.
Yeah, I mean, the ones that are viewed online aren't date stamped, and I don't know if they use title blocks.
Whatever came in the HTC submissions, I think is what we have to go
But
with.
the ones that were brought into the office and reduced that were date stamped are the ones that are through Iron Mountain, which are difficult to find right now.
So I think we have to go with the HTC submissions.
Right, from the meeting.
Submissions, and
Mhm.
this points to why,
Yeah.
On the administrative side, we need to figure out a way to record these items as they come in so that they're, and I think the HTC submissions emails are sufficient.
Yeah. That's
Okay,
fine.
great. So can we get a motion to hold for that information? Original submission, sequential submissions, the final approval submissions as submitted through HDC submissions, email, the minutes, and a list of the meetings with a timestamp.
I would make that motion, just with the caveat that as much as the applicant can contribute to this process, the better. So it relieves staff as much as possible.
Yeah, and just I want to reiterate, basically the motion includes the process whereby that information, except for the actual attachments, are listed and provided through Kathy to Plus. And then it will simply be a matter of looking through HDC information, looking through the videos to verify the timestamps, looking through the emails to pull the submissions off. You are going to you're going to reference the information. Kathy's going to source it from the town server. Okay? Gotcha. Thank you. Good?
Yes.
Is that your motion?
Yes. So succinct. Yeah.
On your motion, Angus.
Aye.
Let's see, Joe,
Aye.
Connie,
Aye.
and Val,
I.
and I'm an I. Okay. That carries unanimously. Thank you, everyone. Good evening.
Aye, Commissioner Bull. Sorry,
That's fine.
but happy to be
That
here.
is all part of life. Okay, which we're enjoying more of by getting out at 7 o'clock. No digs at anyone, I'm just saying. 115 Cliff, commissioners, myself, Ray, Val, Angus, Joe. Is that? No, I'm reading the wrong line.
Well, Joe would be back in because Carrie's not here.
Yeah, let me just pull. Is there any way we can get lines on the agenda? Because it would be so much easier to see.
Yes, yes, yes.
So why don't we key Chuck up while I get the,
I'm gonna do a little introduction and then Chuck will
get
take
the board.
over.
Hold on one second, everyone.
One point of order.
Yep, before, let me list the board. Which is myself, Ray, Abby, Angus, Carrie's not here, Connie is listed as the alternate, Connie will sit, and then Ray, you wanted to comment?
Well, that was it. I had heard Joe, but I noticed that Connie was actually the alternate.
Yeah, I needed the lines to see
Yeah.
what was going on. Okay.
I have two
Yeah.
things. I want to do a little prelude. And Chuck, do you want to share your screen?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. So you have reviewed this project a few times.
Hold on one sec, Bill. Chuck, can you double click on, there you go, thank you.
Well, I'm just doing an overview and then he'll take
That's
over.
fine.
And I felt at our last meeting, it turned kind of on a sour note with the 3-rule thing. And so I myself decided I'm going to look back at all these videos and make notes of what everyone said because I just couldn't figure out how we got to that point. So I spent a great deal of time doing that. The minutes that are posted are very abbreviated because that's just what they are, minutes. They're not transcripts. So I thought it was important to do this. And I actually am glad I did because I found a lot of positive comments from a lot of you. I did have Kathy send it out hoping you'd look at it. And I think it illustrates also that based on the commentary, you're thanking them as we go along for the changes they have made. It's not as if they haven't made any changes. Lastly, my last concern from the last meeting was that we had come along through several meetings to get to this point, and then new things were brought into that meeting that had never previously been mentioned before. So I thought that's a very difficult thing to address when you're at this point. And I think it's unfair to the applicant because no one will ever get to the finish line. So overall, simplification of details and formality were the paramount comments in your reviews. Incrementally, this happened. Dormers, roof walk, height were being addressed.
There are concerns of a few commissioners about size and scale, but most of you complimented the design massing as an asset and had no concern with it. And then I say, see highlighted comments in the transcripts that were sent to you. And last, just to be clear, I put an aerial map in there to show where this building is in relation to Tuppence, because I think there's there's a misconception that it's right next to Tuppence. And in fact, there's two sizable houses between this house and Tuppence. It's not right there where the wide open trails are. And that's my little introduction. And Chuck will take it from here.
Thanks, Al. Chuck?
Great. Good evening, everybody. Appreciate everyone attending. Just jumping right into the main house changes in response to what the commission has asked for. Front elevation, lower left-hand corner shows the previous rendition. This one shows the changes of getting rid of the flanking gambrel facing the street in lieu of dormers. You'll see in the center mass, we have 3 dormers with traditional double hung windows, and then these smaller scaled down gambrels running parallel with them. We introduced a cottage 2/1 window. Also, in response to some of the concerns about the massing, we were able to lower the ridge of the overall house 9 inches. This did allow us to engage the dormers with the upper roof pitch, which I think was everyone was a fan of and supporting. On the side elevation, you will see again ridge lowered, modified to the dormers. The other thing we removed was there was a swoop at the front door. We did modify that to a shed roof, more in keeping with the front dormers. Rear elevation again, 9 inches lower, overall height lowered. Also changed the pitch on this rear roof, which cannot be seen from any public way. But again, keeping consistency on changes across all portions of the house. I believe that pretty much covers comments that have been made, and welcome any questions.
Thanks, Chuck. Let's see again, myself, Ray, Abby, Angus, and Connie. Does anyone have any questions for Chuck? Okay. Ray, you want to start?
Sure. Well done is all I have to say. My issue with this has been the idea of these, flush gambrels flanking the main mass. You've remedied that. I think this looks fine. I would only say one thing in the interest. I think this is something that might actually benefit you as an applicant. And I think that the HTC would endorse this. And that is, you've added 2 little single dormers on either side. And for the sake of simplicity and for the sake of the rooms behind those dormers, I think it might be better simply to have double windows in a single dormer rather than, the space in between the 2 individual dormers. So rather than having a total of, 7 dormers, you would have 5. That's a recommendation, not a mandate, because I think that in general, this is very sympathetic. Appreciate the changes. Thank you.
Thanks, Ray. Let's see, Abby.
Yeah, I appreciate the changes, especially the getting rid of the gambrels facing the road. I agree with Ray about it's getting a little busy with each dormer. If that was a ganged, I'm assuming you're saying that those 2 windows would be ganged. Yeah, and just have one shed. But I think it still looks a little grand. There are a couple of architectural features I'm not sure are helping. One is the fascia, the large fascia strip that the difference between the first floor and the second floor. I kind of wish it wasn't just a straight line right across, that it maybe went up and down with the heights of the massing. I'm concerned about the 6/9 windows being a little grand. I wish they were just large 6/6s. And my only other problem with I think it's the north elevation that is over fenestrated, and you will see that coming down Cliff Road and looking at the side of the building. I'm not sure if that's the north elevation or,
West.
oh,
would be.
it's what would face Nantucket.
West.
What?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is,
So that one
Hmm.
right there, you are going to see that very plainly from Cliff Road. I'd like to see the fenestration reduced on that, because I do think that this is still close to Tuppen Sea, which is a very rural, old, one of our first golf courses, so it's very open. Yes, there are a few other houses around, but not to this scale. But I appreciate the changes. And yeah, those are my thoughts. Thank you.
Thanks. Let's see, Angus.
Ray and Abby beat me to the dormers. That was my issue with the front. And I appreciate the reduction in height and the simplicity compared to the original design. I agree with Abby about the fenestration facing west. And in the west elevation, can we scroll that? Is this dormer flush with that wall? Is that?
No.
How far back is it set?
Hmm?
Uh,
I believe
through the-
7 or 8 inches from the wall below.
Okay. So that's just reading like this is just an applied molding. It's because it'll be seen from a distance that 8 inches will just disappear. So that's a concern for me. I think in my previous reviews of this, I haven't really gotten granular with it just because the overall like massing, height, detail, all that was more of an issue. Now like it's cleared enough that I can sort of look more at the details. And if it seems like a new comment, that's why. But so those are, and I believe that the north is really not going to be visible. So otherwise I'd want that fenestration to be reduced. That's all. Thanks.
Thanks, Connie.
So, I do appreciate the changes on the south. I would be in favor of reducing the dormers as suggested. Originally, I was concerned about the north and the fenestration, but I agree, I don't think that will be visible. And that was my only comments. Thank you.
Thanks. Chuck, I got a little bit different take on those dormers. Can we go? Yeah, I think, I would want to accentuate a little bit of formality. I think this location can handle it. I've been driving up and down that road every day, looking around for the last few weeks, not in particular on this application, but for other reasons. And I think a solid board front instead of shingled. So corner boards that extend all the way across will make those dormers a little bit more formal. And it will de-emphasize as a result the other 2 dormers on each addition. Now that's only part A of a 2-part. That's part 1 of a 2-part solution, because the driving force for me is to de-accentuate the 2 dormers on the flankers. The bigger portion of that, I think that will help make it successful, is changing the eave height on the 2 masses on the left and the right. I do not believe it's appropriate for them to be the same height as the primary mass. I understand on the interior program may result that you need to do a step down. I don't know what where you've got wall room breaks in there or not. But if you need to maintain the ceiling height relative to each room versus as a sense of flow from left to right across the building, you can do that with a step down on the interior with a mud sill. And that will result in the eaves being lowered on both sides. Again, for me, that I'm concerned, a comment about the dormers is I'm concerned that this, personally, I am concerned that combining the dormers is going to overpower the secondary masses. And it'll be balanced left to right, but it's going to overpower the primary mass. So to me, that reads as a very worthwhile solution. And then on the, let's see, I want to go back to a couple comments that were made. The emphasis on material changes and the three material changes within 3 hearings rule was that the gambrel forwards had not been modified, and they were a major issue for a consensus of the board. And that needed to be addressed, and it worked. So there you have it. We've moved past it. We appreciate the modifications. And now we are focusing on, and as some members started to focus on some of the granular items, whereas before we were focused on the structural aspects. If
May
you
I ask a
go
point of
to-
clarification?
Yeah, go ahead.
So the dormer comment first started off with the first panel member suggesting that it was something, a suggestion to look at. And it has since, I think 3 people have brought it up. We did look at it internally. The challenge with that is exactly what you had mentioned, where it becomes quite a large mass.
Yeah. Well, I think where we
And it
are,
becomes, and
Chuck.
it becomes top heavy.
yeah.
And
I
as one of,
think, Chuck, I'm gonna cut you off, not to cut you off, but just to facilitate. The best thing to do is you've looked at it, you guys are pros, you can throw together that drawing as an option, and the HTC eats with its eyes. We'll have an opportunity to look at it. I think we're gonna be holding for some relatively minor revisions. And it could be an option showing combined dormer, maybe an option showing slightly more formalized primary mass dormers. The secondary mass dormers as they are. I don't know if anyone else supports the idea of adjusting the eave heights, the top plate heights of the secondary masses. But before we go to consensus question, I'd like to just finish up going around the building quickly.
Sure.
Can we go to your side elevation? Doesn't matter which one. Yeah, so this would actually step down a little bit, and if you do it as a relative basis, then your door heights would remain the same, but otherwise they could be reduced slightly. What are these 8 foot? Chuck?
yes, they are. Yes, they
Yeah,
are.
so I mean, if you went with 7.6, that's gonna decrease the fenestration. This structure and the design would support kick panel, French doors. You're not gonna be looking at the view. I don't, it's not our purview, but I don't think it would greatly impact the interior view because you're looking out onto a deck in any event. So, not like you're looking out through a glass rail and balustrade to panel balustrade to the ocean. So for me, the step down in the top plate, the E, translates to this side in a beneficial way, and perhaps some kick panels on the French doors being 7'6". Can we go to the next elevation? I have no comments here, given the lack of visibility. Next. Yeah, I hear you might sacrifice that transom over the door. Those are my comments. I don't know if anyone wants to comment on the concept of the lowering the top plate eave. If you do, that would be helpful, whether you support it or not, just so Chuck has some guidance.
I think it would be helpful to, as far as the massing and graduation of volumes to lower that eve as you suggested.
Does anyone have a concern with that? Go ahead, Ray.
So I have a lot of experience with gambrels, probably too much. seems like 3/4 of what our office produces these days are gambrels. And one thing I've learned about them is that they're more harmonious when the eaves align. I know that what I'm saying is in, contrast to what everyone else is saying. However, do I think that this eave could drop down? Yeah, but if it were me, if I were designing this, I would have all of the eaves drop down so that there was continuity in the scale of the gambrels. It gets really complicated when you take gambrels and sort of shift where the spring point is. But that's just my opinion. Just thought I'd throw it out there. Thank you.
Sure, no, that's cool. And I just want to clarify if there's any misperception. I'm not suggesting modifying the gambrels in any other way on the secondary masses other than to potentially lower them in a study so we can look at the drawings.
Oh.
No changes to the chords, nothing like that, just simply lower the top plate. And it may not be, that may be what you thought was a concern, Ray, and it's not a counterpoint. I just want to be sure he understands.
Yeah.
I'm not suggesting we alter angle or anything. Thanks. Val?
One quick comment. As we know, sitting and looking at these applications every week, it's one thing to see it on the flat facade, but in reality, those are set back. And I'm wondering, would you actually really notice if they were lined up or not?
May I answer that?
Yeah.
To me, it's actually going to look, it'll fool the eye, but the ones that are further back are actually going to look higher up because they're further away. So when you're looking at an angle, a portion of your eye is going to see that, and it's going to appear to be on a higher plane until you converge on the primary mass because it's further away. What's closer is lower in your field of view because you're viewing it on an angle. So when you see something closer, it's lower on the angle than
You
something.
lost me. It's okay.
Okay.
I was just thought I'd mention it.
My concern would be that it actually would accentuate the problem, the distance, which is why I factored in the lowering it. Abby?
So I'm looking at these 6/9 windows again, and I think they have a lot of verticality that's giving it a grander scale than necessary. And I think if they were just, large, but just 6/6s, it would take that formality away. So I just wanted to reiterate that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Could we go to a profile view that I would pull it up, but for some reason, all the pictures are going black on my screen.
The section view?
The east or west view.
Chuck, can we get an east or west? Your pick.
Yeah, so the visual angle, let's say the point of view is from here looking up. This is going to look higher than that. That's going to look lower. Just I just wanted to show that I think.
May I ask a question?
Yeah, well, it's much further away.
This would be directed to Chuck, I suppose. Chuck, does your program allow you to do 3D?
We have some renderings, yes.
I think it would be helpful to see 3D views of this.
Yeah, I do too.
I could say that of every application that we review, frankly, but
I think we should only be approving 3D views.
Well, it sure says a lot.
So I think we've got minor revisions. We're looking for options. We're looking at the dormer options. We're looking at the secondary mass top plate options, and we're looking at 3D drawings. And we're looking at the 6/9s. And Chuck, that is we're not on the interior, but to Ray's point, lowering the overall mass. I mean, that's what are your interior ceilings, like 10.5, 11 feet?
It's like a
It's going, the
Yeah,
windows
they're under 10.
Well, those windows are almost 8, right?
9/8.
Yeah, I think it was 910, 98.
Yeah, and then you've got, you've got a foot and a half to your floor, and then you've got a foot or a foot and a half to your ceiling, so you're easily at 10, maybe 11 feet. I'm not asking for a section, but I think, I don't want Ray's point, to be lost. And that is that it would probably be beneficial to take 6 inches out of that height, and that will translate into more appropriate windows that are not 6/9, as Abby has brought up.
I think what's making it look tall is on a gambrel, the plate sits on the second floor.
Yeah, however it works, the translation is to make it look a little lower now that we're getting into the meat and potatoes. We've gotten past the gambrels forward.
Gotcha.
So it sounds like a tall order, but I think in today's day and age, you've got your floor plan, you're not looking at modifying programmatic elements, you're looking at height differences, differential presentation, and some options on the dormer. Do we have a motion to generally that effect?
I'll make that motion to hold for revisions.
And information?
And
Drawings.
for, the 3D
Yeah, perspectives of the options.
and some 3Ds of the building.
Okay, thank you.
Um,
On your motion,
Aye.
Ray,
Hi.
Angus.
Aye.
Connie,
Hi.
and I'm an aye. Because I think we're far enough along with this guest house and resite the shed and the pool house, maybe hold on the pool hardscape, but does anyone have any concerns with that approach?
You mean to review them?
Yeah, let's jump in.
I'm for it.
Okay. Chuck, guest house is up next.
Pool house or garage?
We have guest house listed.
Garage
Guest
then.
house garage, yeah.
All right, would you like me to jump in or did you need to read something?
No, Val, do you want to say anything?
Nope.
Okay.
I'm just
Go ahead, Chuck.
taking notes.
Both feet, please.
All right, you got it. Garage, really the main comment that came up that was new was challenging us to see if we could push it back off of the street. So this was pushed back. It is now slightly behind the main facade of the house. Along with the dormer details, we updated those to match the flanking secondary dormers at the two sides of the house. Simplified the deck detailing, modified the dormers, as I said, and lowered the intersecting gable 8 inches. So we had one that was primary and one that was secondary.
Okay, any questions for Chuck?
Main change would definitely be on the site plan.
Okay. Ray, you want to start again?
I'm fine with this. I think it's been simplified. It's fine with me.
I'm just wondering if this has to be a gambrel I'm just wondering if it couldn't be just a simpler gable garage guest house. I think it's complicating it, and when you're adding little porches off here and there, it's getting kind of fussy. So those are my thoughts.
Okay, thanks. Connie?
I'm actually okay with this. Thank you.
Angus?
I am too.
Okay, I get Abby's point. I think my only concern would be that the verticality is gonna change, and that would be problematic. The other thing I want to add is this emphasizes for me the necessity, Chuck, for you to take a really strong look in conjunction with the window changes on the main house, lowering the top plate overall, in addition to a potential differentiation of the primary and secondary mass. That it looks so much taller and disproportionate when you look at this drawing. And I'm saying scale wise, this is a smaller structure, but the proportion of height between the top of the windows on the first floor, and the oversized on this and the oversized windows on the main house, I think that is just going to read very foreign to Cliff Road. So please take that to heart. I'll harp on it at the next meeting. otherwise. Okay, so it sounds like we have consensus on the guest house. Would someone like to help
Yeah,
us along?
I'll move to approve this as submitted.
Okay, on your motion. Well, actually, we're
Yeah,
all
we
here.
are.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that carries unanimously. Recite the shed. Chuck, do you solid here? Just show us the site plan and quickly through the elevations.
New shed up in the corner here. Clouded as an addition. Very straightforward.
Does anyone have any concerns?
Nope.
Do we have a
Mm,
motion?
No.
To approve as submitted.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Carries unanimously. Pool house. Maybe a tiny bit more discussion or maybe more, but let's take the same approach.
Remove the round window from the front facing street view. Kept it for the enjoyment of the applicant, the owner, viewable from the pool. We also in the site plan changed the entry. The entry to the pool house used to be here, which allowed a view corridor from the street through to the pool house. We now move that over here to make it symmetrical with the one across the courtyard, thus creating a little bit more of a buffer when looking at it from the road. So you're entering it this way rather than having that break here.
Quick question, who shears your privet? That looks nice and thick. Does anyone have any concerns with this?
Yeah, I have, are we
Abby?
gonna look, I have,
At the elevation?
right, I just wanted to know, what is the vegetation? I guess it's on the west side to screen the pool. Or is it the other way around?
I'm sorry, I didn't follow.
What is the vegetation on the west side of the pool to screen the vegetation from the road?
This is privet hedge around the parking.
And Chuck, I think where Abby's going this, man,
Sure.
is any pool will have the condition that it's not visible at time inspection or thereafter from a public way or a publicly traveled path. So there may be some evergreen material required at some point, but just so you're aware.
That's fine. This is considered a private road, not a public way. And the topography would never allow you to see it. And then this privet here would prevent you from seeing any pool from any public way.
If it's publicly traveled or laid out in a subdivision approval. So not to, I don't know the details, but I think our condition would be not visible at time inspection or thereafter either way.
Yeah, you won't see it just due to the topography from Gosnell Road.
Perfect. Whether you do it with grade or you do it with visual screening.
Yeah, it's 10 feet up to a flush pool.
Okay. Abby, any other concerns with that?
It's just so hard for me to vote on this without knowing the vegetation, so I'm not trying to be.
No, well, we're actually voting on the pool house now, and then we're gonna take up the.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, why wouldn't you put the pool house, if it's got three sides, why wouldn't you put that on the west to screen it from the road? But I'm not sure that's a good idea, so.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm just.
No,
Is that rhetorical or would you like an answer?
Chuck, can you go to the site plan and then give us a brief response, please?
Westerly views for sunset are beautiful.
Oh, there's no windmills there. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I say that out loud? Abby, other comments?
No, I'm enjoying the sunset right now. I'm in that little pergola. Yeah, so, yeah, I'm just concerned about the vegetation on the west side.
Okay. All right, what would we like to do, folks?
I'm fine approving this as submitted. The idea of putting it on the west side, I think, is not working. Sunset View is not our purview, but Gosnold Road definitely is our purview, and you're moving it closer to Gosnold. And moving it west.
No, I like seeing the, I was talking out loud and I think
Okay.
if they can vegetate that hill going down the road and make it as rural and vegetated as possible with native plants, then I think it will fit in, but
Here,
We're
yeah,
gonna get it.
right, that whole,
We're gonna
side
get a
of-
chance to
yeah.
hit that next.
we are going
Pool and
to.
hardscape. So we have a motion, I believe, did we
Yeah,
actually have a?
I
motion?
move to approve as submitted.
Commissioner Pohl has moved to approve as submitted. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Right.
Any opposed? Carries unanimously. We're gonna do the pool hardscape since we're halfway into it anyways,
Mm.
and then we'll just have the main house, Chuck.
I like it.
I think we really just need to see if anyone has a concern other than screening along the Gosnold roadside. Does anyone have a concern other than potentially more screening there? Okay. Chuck, I just want to address the concern to facilitate this. We need to beef up the vegetative screening such that the pool will not be visible time inspection thereafter. That would include wrapping along the rear, or I should say the left side property line as you're facing from Gosnold. Abby, do you see what I'm talking about? Go back
Down
to
here.
the site plan. So we understand the property line takes a jog where the privet ends, but also that the applicant doesn't have control over the other property. Is that correct?
We're up to the property line.
Okay, so we need screening to wrap that corner so that from Gosnold, regardless of what happens in the future, you're not looking up where vegetation has been removed on the neighbor's property at the pool. You good with that?
Are you saying the whole way up or something just like this?
Can you zoom back out? Actually, I was referring to up near the pool. Just will play on perspective, the laws. of
Here?
perspective and just- Yeah. Wrapping that corner. I don't know that it needs to go nearly that far, perhaps up to the,
Oh, I
Patio.
think I'm with you. You mean here.
yeah, and then around the corner another same distance for me, but I want to put something on paper for discussion.
Okay.
And then the other thing I want to get clarification on is you're showing, that's a retaining wall.
Where?
Here.
What is around the perimeter a few feet or a couple of feet off of the property line?
Here?
And,
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Yeah, that's a wall. That's a wall as well.
okay.
Just-
and-
If you look at the topography that's existing.
Yep.
In order
So-
for us to get a flat plateau, we need that wall. But it's
Right, so
low.
we're really not I just want to be clear on plant material. We're not looking at privet there. We're looking at like a European hornbeam, which is going to be, what's the height of that wall? A few feet?
Chris, do you know off the top of your head?
I mean, I'm looking at the contour lines. It looks like it's not more than a couple or a few feet.
3.5 at most on the high side.
Yeah, so guys, European hornbeam, you know the plant material. It's hedge-like, but it's taller.
I don't
I
think.
Fuller.
I know there are cedar trees around there.
Yeah.
I don't-
So I think we're looking at a plant material, obviously that's gonna screen, but we wanted to overcome the height difference between the lower grade, easily overcome the height difference between the lower grade and the pool plateau, if you will.
I got you. Yep.
And if, I think if you extended it, maybe up to the patio area. And then I think I'm gonna leave discussion for our members because I think someone's gonna want you to bring that patio away from the property line. Who would like to begin?
I've just got a couple of questions.
Yeah, go ahead.
So are the hardscaping materials on this application?
Yeah.
Yes?
Chuck, can you list out your hardscape materials? starting with the
It's proposed bluestone patio with bluestone treads and the stepping stone set in grade.
I meant for the whole site, like the parking, what is the
Parking will
material
be
for the-
parking is going to be gravel.
Okay, and when you show just to the left on the west side, you've got like 4 chairs and a table. Is that just on natural grass or what?
Yes, it's on a grass and it's a fire pit,
Oh, it's, okay, so that's a,
like
okay.
like a fire pit or a table or just someplace, again, as I brought up the sunset views.
And, okay, so,
You know, this is about 10 feet taller than the road surface. So you got great vistas.
yeah, and then, closer to Cliff Road, you've got, stairs and another patio. Is that hardscape? What is that, retaining wall look like on the other side?
Are you referring to here?
Yes. Yep. What is all that?
Probably back at the main house would be easier if I may. So I think
Okay,
this probably tells the story a little bit better. So this is the side of the actual house itself and the retaining wall. So it's a retaining wall to the patio. So that's a stone veneer. Here's the planting that we were just talking about, right? Concealing the 2 plateaus, the lower and the upper. And then this is a walkout basement to that lower patio, but it's sunken down so you cannot see it from anywhere.
Chuck, what's the stone veneer? What type? That's a
I don't-
field or what? Cobble, what do you propose?
It's only a photograph in here.
Of the pool?
No, of the retaining wall. Can you
Chris.
show us the image and it's like a larger granite, I think, or a sandstone? Yeah, there it is. Okay. Any other questions on materials?
well, I'm concerned about looking at that wall, and I'm concerned about the walkout, and I'm concerned about what vegetation is going to hide that. So yes, I have some concerns.
Do you want to address them? Like, what would you like to see there?
Well, so the only things that come to mind, I mean, rather than, grasses, cedar trees, black pines. I'd like to see something naturalistic not naturalistic, something that is the same vegetation as you would see in this area. Nothing formalized. And I think the walkout should be screened, and I think that wall should be screened with some natural vegetation.
So perhaps a planting buffer along Gosnell that is a naturalized planting of indigenous plant material.
Yeah, so along Gosnell, whatever, how you pronounce that. And also right at the, right at that patio and the wall. I think there should be something.
Well, we're open to having the planting here to conceal the wall from Cliff Road, but keep in mind that this patio that we're referring to is actually sunken down 3 or 4 feet below grade. You cannot see it. These steps here, let me see if I can. These steps here go down. So as you come, when you land here on this grassy area, this is all natural, and this is all sunken down. You cannot see any of it.
Man. Chuck, I think the concern, at least that Abby's expressing, and we'll go to the other members, is that area not be that element that's shown in the elevation, which is essentially an exposed, otherwise subterranean covered porch, isn't visible because from Gosnell. So you're higher up, you'll still get, the advantage of screening along Gosnell to block the view, but at the same time, you'll have your views. So I think that's the concern that Abby is sharing, and I agree with her. Does anyone have any comments on that?
I do.
Please, Ray.
Okay, so this is one of those examples of Gosnold Road, as I think we all know, is a, dirt road that is heavily trafficked. It's kind of hard to get down in the summer because people are going both directions. So if I were the owner of this property, I'd have as much of an interest in blocking my yard from the cars going up and down Gosnold Road as we would have of looking in at their yard. So right now, both sides of Gosnold Road right there are like massive amount of scrub vegetation. I think to move this along, I would suggest maybe taking the privet that you're already showing right on the line, moving it
Mhm.
slightly further east to allow for a little bit more of the naturalized vegetation. But I know at the end of the day, if there's any gaps in that vegetation, your owner is going to fill them as an act of self-interest so that they're not looking at the cars going by. That's my thought.
Thank you.
Okay, let's see, anyone else?
Oh, I just wanted to agree with the screening of the high walls, the retaining for that west terrace and the exposed foundation. So I mean, along the road would be great, but I think like a tree. Chuck, I don't know if you can see my dot in on
I
the screen,
cannot.
but like where the bend of that where the stair goes up from the lower terrace along the retaining wall, yeah, where your cursor is in that corner, or closer to the lower terrace. Yeah, but back into the corner where the stair goes up. Yeah, right there. I think that that would be a good place for some sort of tree. It would help screen the wall that is of a concern where the stair goes up to the upper terrace. And then, yeah, I mean, you can rely on along Gosnell, but if some screening could happen along somewhere to break up just the exposure of everything that is what would normally be below grade, everything below the first floor. It's just
Right.
out of character to have that be exposed. I know a certain amount is just hidden by the elevation and the grade, but I think it would also be helpful to
We're happy
screen.
we're happy to add more plantings. And we just actually got a little bit of feedback in real time from our client who, we haven't spent a ton of time getting into, the layering that was just recommended is a great idea. And there's also going to be possibly an oak tree in, what was it, Chris, the north what?
Thank
I
you.
think I lost him. So
Thanks,
we're
Angus.
amenable to all of.
All right, so Chuck, I think I want to summarize, I think for the comfort of the membership, we'd be looking at along Gosnell, recessing the privet approximately 10 feet, planting, naturalized planting pattern of indigenous plant materials, a specimen in the interior corner as stipulated, and the wraparound plant material at the pool. Can we go back to the site plan?
Yep, that's what I was just going to. I had notes going on two of them, so I was just trying to consolidate.
No, that's fine. And I think that unless someone's uncomfortable, it could be an exhibit A.
I'd like to see it, but we also have to call out the materials of the parking.
They are in the plan. He has the materials called out in the rest of the application.
You don't want to see the planting on the west side there?
Well,
or
I
just-
think we can stipulate what it is. Like
Okay.
we can we can just label it. Like we want it to be naturalized indigenous plant materials, a 10-foot buffer along Gosnell, privet, pool not visible at time inspection or thereafter, European hornbeam at the interior retaining wall, an extension of either that plant material or privet along what property line is the wrap corner? Cardinal Point?
Northwest.
Northwest. Yeah, I personally don't feel like we need to hold it to see the plant materials written in because we can write them in.
Mr. Governor,
Thank you.
can I just ask, so he has, excuse me, shell is the driveway, but I think
He said
mentioned
gravel.
gravel, but it does say shell.
On the application.
Yeah.
So Chuck, Connie's pointed out a difference disparity in the application and.
The application is correct. I misspoke.
So it'd be shell.
Yes.
And what is the apron called out as?
Is that
The driveway apron?
the driveway apron? I think that would just be yeah, it would be a Belgian cobble.
Okay, so on that, just to put a pin in this maybe, is, you know, the native Belgian block, not that white granite stuff,
Correct. Yes.
the one that looks like native stone, and then
Mm-hmm.
gravel native stone driveway would be much more naturalized in this area. I know there are shell driveways, but
Thank you.
I'm thinking the gravel and the color tone Belgian block that matches it. Does anyone
Definitely.
have a concern with that?
Concern if it's shell.
Yeah, okay, and then, I mean, I'm comfortable if Ray,
I saw it.
would prefer to do it as an exhibit A and we'll mark up the materials on the
Yeah,
exhibit A.
I think that's
Yes, sir.
fine.
So just to recap, we're talking about on the northwest, wrap the corner, add privet. The adjacent, perpendicular line of plant material would be European hornbeam. Along Gosnell, move the plant material that's privet, call it out, move it back 10 feet, naturalized planting pattern of indigenous plant materials, specimen tree at the interior corner, as Angus had pointed out and was shown on the drawing. And the driveway would be a natural gravel with corresponding Belgian block, not white granite. Did I miss anything?
Got it.
All right. That's
Press my-
raised,
Press my motion.
exhibit A, raised motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
May I add, will not visible time inspection or that?
Oh, yeah, I'll put them.
Now that so Abby can vote on it.
Yeah, I think I'm going to,
Say no.
yeah, I'd rather have him do it himself and show us what he wants to do.
Okay, I understand and appreciate that. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And for the record, Abby's a no. Okay,
Mr. Chair.
yes,
So the architect for 4 Westmore is online and
we're gonna go back
to 4 Westmore.
to Francis.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Chuck.
You do have a butter in the queue.
Okay, so again, the process will be, we'll get the presentation from the architect, we'll ask questions, we'll take comments, relevant comments. This is not a public hearing, it's a public meeting. We'll take comments relative to the HDC's purview, which are architectural shape and massing, and architectural features, and then we will go into deliberation. John, are you with us?
I believe Francis, my name's Outerbridge Horsey. I'm John's colleague. John couldn't be here today for personal reasons, but I believe Francis is going to start off with them with some brief comments.
Okay, great. And I'm sorry, could you state your first name again?
Outerbridge?
That's your first name?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. Okay, Outerbridge, give us the rundown. I don't know if you've been to the HTC before, but you'll have a 2-minute window. We're a little bit lenient on if necessary. You might want to start with the site plan and then go from there with elevations.
Great. As I said, I think Francis has a few comments. Francis, are you there?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead, please.
Go ahead.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. My name is Francis Farrell. My wife Jennifer and I live at 4 Westmore Lane. I'm joined with my architect, Outerbridge Horsey, who is substituting for his colleague, John Kazeyu, who can't be with us owing to the recent death of his father. With our new design, we've responded meaningfully to your commentary of our previous proposals, which is for a 400 square foot living space to be built above an existing single-story detached garage. Our plan contains 2 options. Both are identical in height and footprint, the principal difference being only the direction of the roof axis. Before I turn it over to Outerbridge, I'd wish to make 4 quick bullet points. Point number 1, a large majority of the buildings in the surrounding area are 2 and 2+ stories in height. The diagram behind you is color coded. The buildings in blue are 2 or more stories. The buildings in red are 1.5 story. Point number 2, this garage is on Westmore Lane, which legally is neither a road nor a public way. It's private property, the travel over which is restricted only to members of the Westmore Club and their guests. Point number 3, practically speaking, 4 Westmore Lane has 3 abutters. 2 out of those 3 support this proposal, including, importantly, the Westmore Club, which, by the way, the plan is to, if this proposal is approved, house one of their employees and taking another automobile off the road in the summer. Since initiating our proposal, we've reached out to the third abutter to be accommodative, to no avail. The fourth and final point is that the roof peak of the existing garage stands at 17 feet. If this proposal is accepted, it will be at 20 feet, 2 inches. In other words, that's a difference from current 17 feet of 3 feet, 2 inches. And I might add, is 2 feet lower than our previous proposal. That's all I have. I'll turn this over to Outerbridge now.
Thanks, Francis. I just
Thank you,
want to
Brent.
make members of the applicants, agents, and others aware, where the HCC is not going to be getting into a stacking of presentations where 2 or 3 or 4 people come and each speak for 2 minutes. So just be aware, this is an opportunity to highlight that. It will be, a couple-minute presentation, and we move forward to the next step in the process. Outerbridge,
Yes, sir.
please proceed.
Thank you very much, sir. So this is our locus map. Here we are. This is the garage in black here. This is an orientation north-south, as is common on maps. Our site plan is rotated for graphic reasons on the sheet. So here is our 20 by 20 roughly garage. Cliff Road is over here. Westmore Lane is here. The shading, the green shading designates the limit of Jennifer and Francis's property, which includes both Westmore Lane, as he mentioned, some space across the lane, and also the parking easement that serves 108 Cliff Road here. I'll go back to, before going to the options we have, I'll just go back quickly and pick up on where Francis left off on this. So this is the existing building here. This over here is what you saw last time in late November, I believe. And I was not here, John was there. So our new presentation is shown here. And this, as Francis said, is the case for both our 2 options, which are very similar, except the roof ridge is rotated 90 degrees. So the current option is 2 feet lower than the last time you saw this. The eaves are 2 feet lower as well. The eave of the shed dormer is 8 inches lower than shown previously. The shed dormer is set back, which is a concern that you all had last time, and rightly so, from the main wall below. And I believe that's the other thing we have done with there were some concerns about the balcony and the bay window. Not all were opposed to the bay window, but we have removed both the balcony on the west elevation at the time and the bay window, and also the pergola over the garage, in an effort just to simplify this building more appropriately as an expanded garage.
Go ahead, Outerbridge, to wrap it
So
up.
this, we have this just in case you want to talk with us. This is all the elevations of the initial scheme, the existing building. We can come back to that if you wish. Basically our 2, this is, I think, a valuable a diagram here showing the option 1, which is what you reviewed last time. This shows the lowered roof peak. And option 2 basically rotates the roof ridge perpendicular to Westmore Lane. which presents a sort of more recessive elevation facade to both Cliff Road and to the neighbor at 108 Cliff Road. This shows just a model of what it would look like without the wireframe diagram. You can see in the wireframe diagram the existing building, and it's, as Francis said, it's 3 foot above that. And
Right.
finally, here are the options themselves, and we can go into as much detail. The plan is similar but rotated for reasons. This is the new option with the shed dormer facing Cliff Road and facing the main house, and then a gabled elevation facing Westmore Lane, quite symmetrical, modest, simple. And then this is the existing east facade with just a window above it. So I'm happy to go into more detail. Here's what the option one would look like with the removal of the bay and the more modest west elevation with the shed dormer facing that way and the removal of the balcony and door.
Okay, great. Thank you.
You're
So
welcome.
your board is myself, Ray, Abby, Angus, and Carrie is not here. Connie and Joe. Why don't we activate Joe?
Yeah, I was on this before, I think.
Okay, cool. Pardon me? You're not on it? Do we happen to have, I don't want to proceed with the wrong board if this. Oh, I'm sorry. You know what? I didn't go back up. It's myself, Ray, Angus, Connie, and Joe. Okay. So everything's good and happy. And who would like to comment?
I'm happy to start.
Please, Angus.
So I think that because of the sloping down to sloping north down to Cliff Road, the the gable forward towards Westmore Lane is probably going to be more successful. So I guess that is option one. Sorry, two. And I mean, this has come a long way from being high and then the bay window and all that stuff. So I appreciate the removal of all that. The dormer, so our guidelines are a minimum of 3 feet in from the ridges and 1 foot in from the eaves. And it looks like you've moved the dormer in, but not a foot. So I would be looking for a foot with that. And then the gable window that would be facing west in option two would be, instead of a gang of three, would be two separate windows. So basically kind of removing the middle window. I appreciate the other changes. Thank you.
So if I may just respond, I believe the 3 foot setback was prior for this. Is that what you're talking about, the shed dormer here?
Yeah.
I think that's what we had originally. We've always had that, and that is, I believe, remained, but I'll be happy to double check that.
That's correct. I put those two together, the three from the ridge and the 1 foot back. So you're following the guideline from the ridge, but not from the eave.
I see.
No, he's showing it as.
It's 3 feet.
From the ridge, but not
Yeah,
from the eve.
somebody just zoomed in on that dimension.
Rich, can you zoom in on the dimension from the eave to the dormer?
From the here?
No. Go
No,
back to
you
the,
just showed it.
go back to the, there you go.
This was the
Zoom in on
original
the-
scheme, but it's the same
Yeah.
thing.
That's fine. I'm talking about the eave, not the rake.
Oh, okay.
I'm confused.
So here.
Oh, you're talking about a flush dormer.
Yeah. It is shown set, one of these is shown set back like 6 inches, but it needs to be a foot. There, I think.
Yeah, I believe it's 8 inches. This, you're talking about this dimension here, from here to here?
Yeah, so that this would be, or no, up at this is the main roof, but then the dormer here.
Here, this here? Are you
Yeah,
looking at my-
exactly. It would be a foot back
This-
from,
Foot back from the wall below. Is that correct?
that's correct.
corresponds to drawing 10, which is a different elevation than the French door elevation. of
Right,
this west
right.
elevation. So we're looking at two different elevations and talking about the same topic. What's currently proposed is the dormer with the windows, not the French doors, if we're going with option 2. And that is set back how far from the lower wall in a vertical plane?
Well, it's 6 inches, basically 5 and
6
3
inches,
quarters.
okay. And,
Right.
and Angus is saying his preference based upon the typical setback for that scenario is a foot, right?
Correct.
Thank you. Okay, we're all on the same page again. It's a wonderful thing. We're not over on Nantucket Road like we were a week or so ago. Ray.
Thank you. So, Angus underscores or brings up an interesting little, issue that I've had with those rules, concerning setbacks. If this were a flush dormer, which would be of a higher impact, it would be flush with the wall plane below it. So I feel like any movement back, any movement back is an improvement. And this application does have, it's not a foot, but if we moved it back a foot, those windows would obviously need to get quite a bit smaller. The applicant has backed off the flush dormer, which I appreciate. So I'm actually okay with this application. I appreciate the removal. For me, it was the kind of opulent elements like the bay window and the little pergola that was over the garage doors. All that's gone now. So I'm pretty much fine with this. And I appreciate that there were 2 options. I think I agree with Angus that the gable end one facing Westmore Drive is probably the preferred option in terms of its impact from Cliff Road. Thank you.
Thank you. Joe.
Yeah, I really appreciate the changes, and having looked at this prior to the meeting, I kept going back and forth on option 1 or 2. So I think Angus makes a good point relative to the slope of the road. So I'm now leaning towards option 2. And I also think it's a nice gesture towards Westmore that what seems like the front of a small cottage is now facing the road instead of going by the side of the building all the time. And as far as the dormer goes, when I look at the previous submission and this one, I think I'm in the same camp as Ray, that the pushback from the face of the wall below and the elimination of those decks, it's so dramatic. And I think that in your favor. And I also think that the windows you end up with work with the other fenestration that you have here. So I support option 2 as revised. Thank you.
Thanks, Joe. And I was remiss. I don't have eyes in the back of my head, and I didn't realize, Rick, welcome. I didn't realize your hand was up. Would you like to speak?
I could. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Great. Well, thank you, Stephen. Appreciate you recognizing me. So I listened with interest on the 115 Cliff, because you can hit a golf ball from our house to that house. And the interest in this being a very open space and close to Tuppensy, we're in the same location as 115 Cliff. I think what I'd say is my amateurish way of looking at this is this is something like 30 to 35% larger in volume than what it currently exists there. And this sits extremely close, both to Cliff Road. It's probably 6 feet off the sidewalk not on Cliff Road, on Westmore. It's probably 6 feet off the sidewalk in Westmore. And it's 3 feet off of my parking pad. So I will be able to knock on the window when I get in my car if we go with option 2. Just to speak briefly to Mr. Farrell's comment that this is not a public way, while that may legally be the case, there are hundreds of cars a day that go up and down that road accessing the Westmore Club. This is a large mass, and we're making it even larger. I would just say, I guess it just sits in such a prominent space. You turn the corner off a Cliff Road, you're going uphill, and this thing is towering, I guess, for lack of a better word, above. And I can't, it's really difficult for me to swallow that you want to put that option 2 would put 5 windows facing facing north, which is where my parking pad is in the remainder of my garden, 3 feet from the parking pad. That seems really strange. I guess in trying to be constructive about this, I would say there was a proposal last time that Mr. Farrell should consider building down. And if that's not economically feasible for Mr. Farrell, then perhaps we should just make this a ground floor apartment and not raise the roof and not put the dormers on. And if he wants to have an income property, well, he's got the building. Leave it in the same envelope and make it a ground floor apartment. Thanks.
Okay, Rick, thank you. Can we go to the site plan, please? Okay, and then can we go back to option, north, east, west? Okay, west is Westmore. That makes it simple. Can we
West
go
is,
to,
west is down in this drawing.
Yeah, can we go to, option 1, please? Yeah, and then can we go to the wireframe that shows the 2 options, or the wireframe and are they on one sheet, Outerbridge?
Here's the wireframe.
Okay, yeah, and so for me, and this is where I was gonna go regardless of Rick's comments, the proximity of the structure, well, first of all, Westmore Lane is a road, I believe it is a subdivision, a subdivisional road created by subdivision, which is part of our purview. And for me, it's also closer, Westmore is closer to the structure than Cliff. For me, option 1 is beneficial in that the slope of the roof translates to Westmore Club or Westmore Lane more smoothly as a lower element than at the facade than the gable forward to Westmore Lane. Oh, lightning round, which would be, I think, too abrupt given and too imposing giving its proximity to Westmore Lane. I guess someone said it was 6 feet off, maybe it's less, but whatever it is, I think that's, for me, a compelling reason to have option 1 in terms of the massing. Can we go back to the option 1 elevations, please, for my comments?
So raise your hand, right?
I guess, I don't know.
I think the lower height is a big plus. I believe that, where's your, is 8 foot, Outerbridge is 8'3" your floor to floor or your garage floor to garage ceiling?
No, it's floor to floor. The garage ceiling height is quite low. That was part of what we did when we lowered the ridge 2 feet. So it's a very tight garage ceiling.
And what is the height of the door with the transom overall?
This here,
I don't need to know by the inch, but
I
are
would
you at
say
9
it's
feet?
about, judging from this, I would say it's about 7 feet to here.
Okay.
And I think that then we go up another 8 inches inside or 7 inches inside. And then we'll have an engineered floor package to get some additional, save some additional height.
Okay, so my comments on these are, I think you need a structural mall on the gable forward between the triple set of double hungs. And on the dormer, I think you could break those up with at least a I want to make a comment on dormers. I fear that in rigidly following the guidelines, which are not rules, they're guidelines for subjective interpretation and guidance, that we are homogenizing historically what we're creating history, and that history is homogenization. where dormers all look the same. And I spent a lot of time in town, the old historic district in Ensconset. And I gotta say, I mean, I'm not taking a side quest here, but it's relevant to the structure. There are there's a disparity amongst dormers that are not in the guidebook, and they give a sense of a little bit of flavor, a little bit of patina, a little bit of, I shall say, character that I fear we're losing. So with those comments in mind, for me, the concept here is to put some structural moles, maybe on the center window left to right, which would make sense looking at a structure that it has support there. The other windows don't necessarily need to have a structural mall or as wide of a structural mall in that dormer presentation, and thereby you're creating a little bit of a little less repetition, a little bit of visual interest, and in keeping with how a structure would be constructed. So those are my comments on the dormers and the dormer, I would say the dormers, and then with respect to the gable ends. I would not be adverse to having a little bit more shingle wall and having 4 windows versus 5 on the dormers. And in that instance, I would be looking at structural malls between the 2 windows. So basically, in essence, subtracting the middle window and adding structural mall between the remaining double set.
It looks hard.
So those are my comments. What do you want to do, folks?
Can I ask a question, Mr. Chair?
Yeah, please.
In all this discussion, I've lost track of which board members prefer which option, honestly.
I think
I'm fine with either. That's Joe speaking.
That's kind of where I am. That's why I'm asking the question.
Yeah, I think it's a fair question, and you are fine, I'm fine, I prefer one. Hold on one sec. Connie what do you prefer?
I actually do prefer one, but with less, that dormer, that top dormer, the west.
So a
facing west.
4-window solution with structural malls, perhaps?
Yes.
And when I say prefer, I want to be clear for the record. When the HDC says prefer and likes, we're actually saying what is appropriate for the character and setting of the area. So it would be, Ray, are you good with a 4-window approach?
I am.
Okay. Angus, I think that goes to you, and then I'll revisit fenestration with Joe.
I can see the benefit of an eave on the heavily traveled way, like when you're turning up, like when you're just like racing down Cliff Road. The gable forward is going to feel high, but I think it's only when you turn onto Westmore. I mean, I could sort of see the reasoning for having an eave forward onto Westmore. The dormers, I mean, historically, we didn't, except for light, we didn't have dormers. So that's a relatively new phenomena. There were some exceptions, but the minimum guidelines are minimum guidelines. And, you know, the variation would be not having room dormers, which is, I mean, the guidelines are the only thing that we have to go on other than historic precedent, which there are exceptions and uniqueness, but I think to get variety would be fewer, like maximizing roof dormers to fill room space instead of just getting light for a window. But the dormer, I would say, would want to, it would have to be more than moles. I would look for shingle space between the windows to minimize the amount of glazing that would just go all the way across the dormer. Thanks.
Okay. I'm going to go to Joe and then can
Yeah, fine.
Joe on fenestration?
I support the 4-window with support mullions between the 4 windows in the dormers.
All right, Ray?
Well, look, if we're going to 4 windows, either option is possible. You either put the 4 windows together with malls in between, or you break them all up as per Angus and have shingle spaces in between. And like the orientation of this, I'm ambivalent. I think either one is acceptable.
Okay, and I'm more inclined if they're not going to be ganged, that is to say, 2 sets of 2 with a structural mall, that they would be separated by shingle space. That would actually present less imposing visually, and I think that could be beneficial. So why don't I make it simple and go to the shingle space, and why don't I see Kathy, Rick?
Thanks. I guess I just wanted to flag that in either option, but since we're looking at option 2 at this moment.
No,
the-
1.
Sorry, option 1, can we scroll up to it then? Just brief.
One changes the gable to facing cliff.
I got it. So, diagram 4, I would just like to say those 3 windows over the top. I mean, I'm just listening to the 115 Cliff Road about privacy and not seeing things from the road or not seeing into people's yards in particular. Those 3 windows are 10 feet away from the lot line, 16 feet high, and look directly over my garden. Now, maybe that's not something you guys are, as is within your purview, but that is a fact. And that fact goes along with the recent 1,000 square foot addition that Mr. Farrell has built with a deck that's 4 feet high above the grade that looks over into our yard. So this is kind of like crushing in terms of the abutter. Anyway, but anyways, I'm just going to say those 3 windows, Mr. Farrell originally had much smaller in his first design and has made them larger for this design. Thanks.
Well, that making them larger was in response.
Guys,
Thank you, Mr. Sears.
We're not gonna
okay.
crosstalk and everything through the chair. I think we're at the point. I just want to take one last look at the site plan. And also, I think, the 3 window solution for both dormers is also something I would find appropriate.
Well, I would find it appropriate, but I don't think that what is on the table right now, which is 4, is inappropriate.
Yes, I don't disagree with it. While we're here, gentlemen, and before we make a motion, we had a really wonderful discussion on 115 Cliff about European hornbeam. And we didn't get into their attributes of columnar, not taking up a lot of space, but providing, really wonderful screening of viewscapes. And I'm wondering if we might introduce, Francis, the concept of some European hornbeams along the east elevation for screening from those 3 windows, which I believe, though, that facade is viewable from within Westmore Lane, because Westmore goes in and makes the left, right?
I'm not sure I understand that last.
Can we go back? So here,
This is west, so that, yes.
basically the concept of some European hornbeams along this portion of the property line.
And they get up to 15, 16 feet and
They can actually be maintained at a lower height, but yes.
Can I interject?
Yeah.
They have a blight.
No, it's European
Carpina.
scale. There's a particular brand of product which I won't get into today, but it works tremendously well. Or you could use an oak century or some type of a columnar plant material that's deciduous, that provides summer screening, fall screening, vegetative interest in the winter months.
Mr. Chair?
Yep.
Just a little point of order, I guess. I think that would be a great sort of neighborly gesture, but I'm not sure that would be required, at least by me, to approve what seems to be on the table right now.
Okay.
I would really see that more as a neighborly gesture than anything else. Thank you.
I think that's a fair comment. I think that screening of those is not inappropriate. It's not inappropriate of the HDC to ask. We ask for screening of elements that are visible at an obtuse angle all the time. Where are we with
Mr. Chair.
that?
Mr. Chair.
Hold on a sec, please. Where are we with vegetative screening? Francis?
You're asking me if I would agree to your suggestion?
Yeah, because what I'm trying to do is move this to the point where we come up with an approval that may include an Exhibit A that would indicate the area where there'd be vegetative screening.
Agreed.
Okay, thank you. And Kathy?
Rick Sears has his hand up again.
Rick, one more time, but quickly, please.
Yeah, sorry. The, I was just saying the vegetative screening is, well, nice, obviously better than nothing, but I'd also like it on the north elevation. So the north elevation is where that building sits 3 feet from where I park my car. So, and that is on Mr. Farrell's property. So I can't plant there. Otherwise I would put in those gigantic things that you're talking about, but I think they need to be on the north side of the property as well. Or the north elevation. Does that make sense? Sorry, thank you.
Can we zoom out just a hair quickly?
What was that?
Can we zoom out just a hair quickly? Yeah.
Is that better? I'm not seeing your screen, so I'm not seeing what you
So
see.
that's the gable forward end to Cliff.
Yeah.
Are you okay with some screening there?
There's a hedge there now, Mr. Chairman, and that'll be improved and, yes. agreed.
Some columnar plant material.
Yes, sir.
It'd be a wonderful thing. Okay, thank you, everyone.
I have a question for the
Yes.
applicant. So in option 1, north elevation, there is a trellis that is shown. And so my understanding is that usually when a trellis is shown, then that's required to be part of the completed project. And I just wanted to confirm that there would be planting on that, climbing hydrangea, whatever, some kind of something that would be softening that high gable facing. The driveway adjacent to this is not our purview, but the view of this from Cliff Road is. And so that would be my concern. And my question is to the applicant, is that will be planted?
Yes, there'll be some growing vine on that trellis.
Okay, thank you.
But
So that'll address both the gable end that's visible from Cliff Road, which will have the columnar planting, and the other side which faces towards Westmore. Okay. So
wait,
that would be
Mr. Chairman, if I could, if you're recommending columnar plantings on the north elevation, there's not going to be any chance for something to grow in the trellis, I don't believe. Thank you.
No, you're not saying on the north end of the, there'll be hedges there, privet.
Yeah, supplement that for.
Okay,
height.
very good. No plant, no,
Yeah.
okay.
Okay.
Got it.
Rick, we got to move on.
Yeah, there's privet there already. It doesn't grow. We need something taller because the building's gonna be taller. Thanks, Stephen. Appreciate that.
Yep, gotcha. No, I understand. Guys, I appreciate a little bit of patience. We spend a heck of a lot of time on things like fences that we'll talk to for about a half an hour. This is actually a building that's visible from 2 roads. These are reasonable, and I just appreciate a little bit of indulgence. Do we have a motion to approve option 1 with the 4-window dormer configuration separated by shingles? Annotation that the north and the northeast will have columnar plantings supplementing the privet as exists. And I believe that encompasses the discussion except for,
No, you got.
that was it?
I was gonna say, so moved.
Excellent.
Mr. Chairman, this north elevation is a very tight spot. And I thought we had just agreed that I'll have a privet there. And it doesn't get a lot of great sunlight, but there'll be a new and improved screening privet there.
I think the plant material is not necessarily the concern so much as it's effective and there's a columnar aspect to it. So while arborvitae or Leylandii cypress would not be a good option, we're just going to indicate on the Exhibit A that the vegetative screening will have a columnar aspect to it. And that will address the visibility of mitigating the gable forward on cliff. It happens to face the neighbor's parking area. And along the northwest, which is also visible from cliff.
Okay, that's fine. We'll
Okay.
do that. Could I eliminate then that trellis since the columnar is not?
Yeah,
blocking
you
it?
good with that? We're all good with that. So the motion is in addition to eliminate the trellis on the north face. Is that your motion, Commissioner Paul?
It is.
Excellent. Thank you so much. On your motion,
All right.
Joe,
Aye.
Connie,
Aye.
Angus.
Aye.
And I'm an aye. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll get that drawn
Thank you
up.
very much.
It'll be, you're welcome, guys. It'll be hot off the presses when Kathy's ready in the office, which is to say not tomorrow.
Right. Thank you.
All right, and we're now on to 8 Cato Lane.
Steven.
Yeah,
Just
yes.
a point of order.
159 Orange, I'm sorry.
Did, was
Raised
an
in
exhibit
Exhibit A.
A
Yep.
the part of the motion?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yep.
well,
No.
okay, that's.
No,
part
no,
of
no,
the
I
motion.
stated it to Farrell that.
I don't think the phrase Exhibit A came up in that,
No,
but it
he-
should have, and yes.
Yes, he
Thank you.
asked where we were going and I told him Exhibit A. In any event, stamp it and we'll draw it up. 159 Orange.
Good evening, everyone. Before Val gets into it, into 159 Orange, my name's Chris Magna. I just wanted to say something really quick on this particular project. Last time we were here 3 weeks ago, we had the privilege of having someone who's very close to myself and Val and an amazing community member, Dave Fredericks, who had passed away last week. And this being his last project, he worked with me. He did hundreds of projects just with me, and I know he touched thousands and thousands of lives on this island. Amazing community member. Never wanted the spotlight, which is why I'm giving it to him now. He would kill me if he knew I was doing this. So I did just want to acknowledge him and say thank you to him, and thank you for everything he does to the community.
Thanks, Chris. We appreciate that. Val?
That's a tough act to follow.
Yeah.
Okay. Hi. When we were here prior, we left feeling really pretty great. It came down to some design refinements and considering some more character to the structure. So you did want a hardscape plan, but we haven't officially applied for a hardscape plan. This is just to give you an idea of what is there and what will be. The trees that are the town trees are staying, and there's an additional couple of honeysuckle trees, I think, getting planted as well along the Orange Street side. So, okay, next page, please, ma'am. Okay. The previous is in the corner and the proposed is the larger format. We got rid of the porch facing Orange Street. That was clearly not gonna fly. We dropped the height by 11 inches, so it is now under 30 feet. We changed the windows to 6/6, although 2/2 is still our preference because we thought it was simpler. And I did give you a visual of that at the end of this presentation, so you can compare. We decided to add some rafter tails on the porches. We regularized the posts and the railing. And we're proposing a 12-inch overhang on the gables. I think on these sides that's the key or what was discussed. The dormers on the sides, on the West Street side and the parking lot side, we made those dormers smaller by a foot. So now the corner boards are right next to the windows, eliminating some of that shingle space, mitigating their height. I mean, their size. We have to keep the windows the size they are as opposed to pushing them up in the roof because they're egress windows for housing. And I know you wanted to see where the help me out here, the AC, the mechanical stuff is. And Chris can speak to that. Part of the reason we're putting the shingled railing on the side that's facing the parking away from West Creek is because we're using that. And he can explain that a little bit better.
So if you just go to the next page, please, if you don't mind, Carol. Thank you. So I know one of the questions was the shingling on the second floor. So we're actually, you can kind of see towards in between the dormers, there's going to be a space that we're going to put one of the AC condensers, and then closest to the main massing towards orange on that second floor, there's going to be a condenser located in that location as well. And then the other two are going to be located undergrade on the basement side. They're actually going to be, you can't really see it. One's going to be in one corner, one's going to actually be near the stairwell. So nothing's going to be visible from the road on that end of it.
Okay, thank you. Questions? The board is myself, Ray, Abby, Angus, and I think Joe. Yeah.
I'm happy to. Hmm?
Okay, would you like to start, Angus?
Sure. What a difference. I'm looking at the left facing or the West Creek Road side. And what a difference just a foot made with the dormers. They just like look so much better. And it appears that either the porch got deeper or the roof got steeper, but closing in that, minimizing the shingle between the window sills and the roof, I think really helped. Having a trellis on the south wall really took care of the blank spaces. The front Orange Street side, the porch looks great. The elimination of the gable porch on the second floor helps, but the balcony and French doors are a non-starter for me.
Instead of driving make it just, I wanted to look at what you were talking about.
Oh yeah, the elimination of the peak, but still this, I mean, the picture windows with the flanking, that's, I think about Marine Home and other commercial spaces along Orange Street. And so, you know, it's not something that would see further up Orange Street towards Main Street, but it's something that there's certainly enough precedent for, but I don't know of a single balcony facing Orange Street. And that's just one of the major guidelines is no balconies, French doors facing the street on the facade. So, but if we move to the back, I think that the shingled rail helps to minimize the dormer doors. It makes it feel more like those are windows, and I appreciate the screening that they do for the HVAC stuff. And I don't have an issue with the rear south elevation. Thank you.
Thank you, Abby.
Yeah, so, Val, I applaud the new design over the pediment, one. And, could we go to the front. Um, I just have a couple of things to say. So about that balcony and the windows behind, that's getting very busy. Other than that, I think the storefront windows on the first floor and the second floor configuration of windows, I'm fine with. It's just that busyness up there behind behind that sort of whatever that is, porch, half porch. The only thing I'm wondering, and I'd like other people's opinion on this, is the second floor windows, the 3 dormers, the shed dormers. I'm wondering if those should be one size smaller than, they just look a little cramped at the top of that sort of porch. If they were one size smaller, I think it would, and then I would continue that around the whole second floor if you agreed to that.
They are egress size windows, so if we put
They can't
it's
be
the
one-
minimum they can open, so I
think it's 24 inches, isn't it? Isn't it?
24 by 20 when it's open.
Yeah, that's bigger, yeah.
And
So that doesn't work. But other than that, I'm enjoying this new design. Could I just see the back, not the back, the other side? That's, yeah.
if it's at all helpful, the last 2 pages are the same exact plan with the windows back at 2/2 to see if you like that.
Sorry, oh yeah,
For less busyness.
oh boy, I'm enjoying the 6/6s. You know, that it's sort of scattered architecture around that area, and this building could kind of bring it all together if you, and I know there are a lot of 2/2s there, but
It's just an option.
yeah. So I just wanted to go to the one with what is it facing? The one with the staircase and the
right side.
yeah, the right side, thank you. There we go. Yeah, it's what is the filler that makes the balustrade opaque? Is it
It's just the color of
is it just shingle? Is it just
shingles?
Oh,
yeah.
okay. I couldn't figure out. It almost looked like a Swiss chalet, and I was thinking, well, that would be a kind of a fun detail if you had sort of that cutout on the side there, but it's not. And yeah, that's all I have, Val. Thank you.
Miss
Debbie.
Chair, could I please, I forgot one thing that I meant to mention, and that was between the 2 options. I appreciate you showing the 6/6, and I think that makes a big difference. Thank you
A big difference
for the positive.
for the 6/6.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see, Joe.
Sure. I really think that this design is appropriate for the area with the changes that you've made, Val. And the one thing that was nagging at me was the front porch, I guess the balcony. And it was not so much for me the amount of glass, but we'll call it the tension between the width of the deck and the width of the doors that are above it. And I think the other thing, having just looking at it more as we're reviewing it, it's the size of the panes of the glass in those doors compared to the adjacent windows, which feel somewhat calm to me. And I'm wondering if you look at the amount of glass area in those windows, if you had one door, and maybe that, I don't know what the width of these doors are, but if you had a door that matched the width of these windows and that single door was flanked by the D windows, I think it would bring some regularity to that elevation. And my guess is that the amount of glass area wouldn't change much, but I think you'd get a little bit more breathing space between the side of the fenestration and the side of the deck. And I think it would be nice to have the continuity of the glass pane sizes, not just flanking the opening, but being part of that center fenestrated area, if that makes sense. That's a long way of saying a single door flanked by two windows, I think would look great. And the other thing that keeps bothering me is the corner boards on that thing, and I want to erase them, but you've got corner boards everywhere else. But anyway, that's it. Thanks.
Thanks, Joe. Let's see, Ray.
I think the changes are great for the most part. The only thing that I am not liking is, to Angus's point, the deck over the front doors. And, you know, there is really no precedent, as far as I know, down there for a deck that's looking out over Orange. Plus, I can't think of a worse place to be having my martini than looking out over Orange Street.
But you can
So,
see the harbor, I don't,
oh, could you though? I mean, really? Could,
if you jumped
Yeah.
up down.
Val, excuse me, can you
Yes.
see the harbor from there?
Yes.
Probably could.
Can I see one?
Okay, I retract my statement.
That's why
I-
Oh, no, okay, it's still, I'm not retracting the part that says Angus is correct that there are no decks, second floor decks over there. So
Gotcha.
that's all, that's my only objection.
And Abby would like to supplement her comments.
Yeah, so Val, I personally, I don't think you need the rafter things. I think that's calling out a I think it's fine the way it is, and I think it's just an over embellished detail.
Thanks. Okay, so Val, I agree with everyone, very well done. And the improvements, the height, so on and so forth. I'm on the 6/6 train. The doors on the deck, I think, Joe, I think there's there's a slight difference in, I'm not aware of any mixed use second floor residential structures on Orange. And I think that ultimately that's what this area is going towards. And I think the fact that the deck is not wide left to right nor deep, so it will be, it's not like it's going to be a barbecue area. I think its size creates kind of a self-policing aspect with respect to utility, but it can be enjoyed. I think it's a nice place to hang the sign. I think it's got some balancing points there, not least of which is the visual mitigation by the locust trees. So I'm okay with that, subject to Joe's comments, which I want to expand upon slightly. On that elevation, the first floor windows, can we, that's perfect. All I'd like to see is a better balance between the window pane size of the 6/6 double hungs, both on the first floor and the second floor. And in addition to no more than 2 doors on the second floor deck area. I think preferably one with another window, but the takeaway is you've got 3 different light sizes there, and on the picture window portions, I think that's acceptable, but on the double hung windows and the French doors at the top, I think there just needs to be a little bit more continuity with respect to the size, because it'll just be a better blend there.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
What if we made the ones down below, if I did those as 4/4, they'd be more akin to the size of the panes up above. I don't
think-
know that I can fit 2 big windows on either side of the picture window.
Well, you could, I think you actually could slightly downsize the upstairs windows, left to right by a few, maybe 3 inches, and you're still gonna get your egress. And that would go a long way, and then you might be able to massage your windows down below. I would prefer the 6/6, just given there aren't 4/4 anywhere. I think that would be most appropriate.
Okay.
So however you balance that out. The other element that I think is important for this structure in helping to define the area is, and it's relatively short money, is go with a 5/4 side casing, 6/4 head casing, 6/4 sill. It's gonna be reminiscent of plank framing and, plank window casings, plank windows. And I think that'll be beneficial. The corner boards, I'm with Joe, and I actually think this structure would benefit from just having woven corners, period. Last but not least, and it's outside the scope of the meeting to be discussing the various utilitarian aspects. But Chris in particular, I would ask that you reconsider, suggest that you reconsider and bring back in your hardscape the AC condenser locations. We can talk offline on why, from a building perspective and a HVAC system design, why that would be beneficial to you. Not relevant here, but just to be clear, either way, let's include them in the hardscape where we'll see them in plan view. Okay? Ray,
I have a motion.
you do.
Yeah.
You want to do an exhibit A?
Can we actually do that? Because
Oh,
I was gonna move to hold for a few tweaks.
yeah, that sounds
You
good.
know, and I'm serious. I don't think this needs a lot, but you know,
You
just so
bring
we
it
can
back
see
next
it,
week?
you know, a lot was discussed here. I think you have some choices to make. But that would be my motion.
That sounds good. Balance that fenestration. That's important.
Right.
Let's see, on your motion.
Can we
Alright.
bring it back next week?
Like new business.
New business. I don't wanna jump the line for anyone. It's just a procedural thing. But you'll get it in and you'll be right at the front of the line in old business. Okay, so on your motion, Ray, you said yes?
I said aye.
Joe,
Aye.
Abby,
Aye.
Angus?
Hi.
And I'm an aye. Okay, thank you, everyone. So it comes to that time where we're after 7, encouraging for people to, not have old business. Get stuff done, meet the guidelines, and we will be moving through more quickly. I do want to note that, as chair, I will be working on old business being more strict on time limits for people so that everyone has a fair chance to be heard, but in terms of the applications, again, I know we are not a public hearing, we're a public meeting. And we have a little bit greater control. I remember back when it was in the barn next to the Dreamland, when it used to be a garage, you'd go in, you'd wait in line and they would talk, and then you would either get an approval or a denial or revisions. And that was it. People didn't actually do presentations. You remember that?
Dirk Roggeveen once said, we should make it so that nobody applies. You submit the drawings and you get your response back.
Yeah. I
In
mean,
red.
It's kind of like a building inspection. If someone has to explain it to you,
Yeah.
the HCC eats with its eyes. Complete applications make a difference. Okay, so with all that said, we are looking at the next HCC meeting is April 7th, new business. We do not have minutes to approve as of this evening. And can I get a John McLaughlin, please?
Yeah, do you think we should make it more, that we're stopping at 7 on old business
Oh,
because
well, that's what he's.
No, I think we need to encourage people, we need to encourage ourselves not to be designing at the table. Old business is typically structures, 1, that did not need consent, and then 2, have been back at least 1 time.
Mhm.
So,
Mm.
and I think that designers, and I don't mean any disrespect to anyone, but I think if we have a discussion about this, that it should be amongst the members who are not designers. Because there's no vested interest other than process. But in any event, 7 PM is the no later than unless an application has started to be reviewed.
Motion to adjourn?
Thank you. Those present, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay.
Okay. I can't believe that news.
Oh, with David? Yeah.
God.